Hello and welcome to the American Touring Car Championship. Hello and welcome to the final round of the American Touring Car Championship. We're live from Sebring today for these last two races of the season. Last two slightly longer races also as well. We're going to be around about 35 minutes for each race here today. I'm joined once again by Toby Davis, who's back with me after a one-event hiatus.
Hello Ryan, it's nice to be back for the finale, and it's looking good in the championship hunt, and I'm excited to see exactly how it'll all wind up after today's race at Sebring.
And of course, as we mentioned, we are in Florida at Sebring, and the very famous circuit, of course, with their wonderful final corner, Sunset Bend. I do love that corner. And obviously, Toby, you've raced in this earlier this year, actually, in the World Touring Masters, and won on this track. Perhaps you should just quickly talk us around it.
Yeah, it's all about flow with Sebring. It's about making sure you've got a sequence of corners together. You can see turn 3, 4 and 5. That's a very important sequence to get right. It leads onto the back straight. Big Bend's flat out, so it leads onto the back straight heading into the hairpin, which is a very good overtaking opportunity. One of 2 or 3 really here at Sebring. You'd have to say Cunningham is another one, and into Sunset Bend as well. Turn 8 and 9, they're flat out in the touring car. Turn 10, Cunningham 11 and 12, they're much more technical corners. And of course 13, which is Tower as well, equally as technical. And as you head towards the back end of the track, through towards Le Mans, that sequence of corners is extremely difficult, especially in a touring car, and it's all about, once again, the exit onto the back straight before you get to Sunset Bend. It's a very long lap here as well at Sebring, and it will favour the cars who are quicker in a straight line.
Absolutely, and those BMWs are the ones who are quick in a straight line, of course, and we'll just have a quick look at before we go on track to have a look at what's going on at the moment, we'll have a quick look at the standings. And the standings at the moment, you'll see Stoffel Vandoorne right at the top of the table. The first time he's led this season, but he's leading at exactly the right time, Toby.
He certainly is. He will be ruining the fact that he missed the first round, but in reality it hasn't made any real difference to his championship hunt. He's still going to have 2 good results here, because as you can see, that's DP means drop points, and most of the top runners, they're dropping points, throwing away some scores. Vandoorne has 2 zeros, and those are the scores that he's throwing away, so that's the reason he doesn't have a tally in that column. But certainly Vandoorne in pole position to win this championship, you'd have to say, with his 13-point lead, and he's been in exceptional form since really
winning the
round
last 7 races.
3, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly. He's won the last 7 races, and he's just been phenomenal this season, so it's difficult to look past him. Talborg and NATO are in there, as is Barrick. Vias had a little bit of a struggle the last few rounds, and has fallen away a little bit, but it really is
a great round at Adelaide, of course, in the first race. You can see the results of that race here. He tracked Vandoorne pretty much all the way, kept Vandoorne very honest. I mean, the gap was 3.7 seconds in the end, which is a big gap, of course, in touring cars, but I mean, he kept Vandoorne on his toes. Vandoorne knew with one mistake and VR would be straight through. So, but in the second race, of course, like you were saying, struggled very badly. He lost his force feedback, and his clutch or something got stuck. It was all kinds of drama, apparently. and he ended up crashing out and flipping his car, if you remember, on lap 2. So he had a terrible round there, and again, his luck has not been with him this season.
Yeah, as I say, it's been very up and down for VR, and he's been a bit unfortunate, I think, from time to time. But as you always say, Ryan, you make your own luck, and VR, unfortunately, has had no good luck this season at all. But we wish him all the best in the final round, as we do for all of the championship contenders, and in fact, anyone else racing in Server 1 and Server 2 today.
Absolutely, and the second race quickly here. Those are the results from the second race. We had another perfect round from Stoffel van Dorn. That's 2 in a row, and we all know how difficult a perfect round is to do. In fact, before this ATCC season started, there was only actually 2 in the history of the TPS, and now we've got, I think, around 5 now after Levesque. No, it wasn't Levesque. No, he didn't do it there at Calder because Torbo took pole position. But anyway, we've got lots of them now, whereas we only had a couple before.
Yeah, so, lots of nearly perfect rounds as well.
Yes, of course. But nearly never counts, does it, Toby?
Well, no.
Absolutely not. And so we're going to go on track now and show you guys what's going on and what's happening on track. And you will see. I turn the plug-in on, and you see all the timings. There we are. You see that it is. This is Van Dorn, 2:09.476, a full second ahead of Francisco Villar.
In the sister BMW, not really the sister, but Lauritsen up there as well in the BMW. He's driving for Flying Dutchman development still. He has moved to THR, but he's finishing off for that team in the ATCC.
You just had to get on in there, Toby.
Yeah, just thought I would.
For those who don't know what about that, Toby is one of the team owners of THR, so that explains that for those guys who aren't aware of that. But on the team championship, of course, we didn't mention that, but there's 3 points between Team Portugal and FDR Camden. FDR Camden comprising of Barrick and Torborg, and of course Team Portugal, VR and NATO. So there's all to play for in that regard. Yeah,
you have to say a few rounds ago it looked like it was all going to be about FDR Camden, wasn't it really? Yeah. But coming into the last few rounds, and really it's anyone's game now, as you say. They're nip and tuck. So, and Van Dorn's going quicker.
I love the tone of voice as you said that there.
If that's even possible.
He is stupidly quick, and of course he's in the virtual V8 Supercars this season as well. You're going to be racing against him, Toby. And,
yeah, I'm not looking much for that one actually. I feel like I'm going to get smashed.
The way he goes, I don't think you'll be racing against him very much, to be honest.
No, exactly.
And he's second actually in the virtual V8 Supercar pre-qualification, which just started last night, and we've got about 24 hours right now. So he's on course to be qualifying for that Server 1. Virtual V8 Supercar starts on the 28th of April. That's a Saturday in the evening, so you guys can watch that as well, because the ATCC and the Clio Euro Series will both be ended by then. But of course we've got V8s to keep you satisfied throughout the summer.
And they will be dominating everyone's radar, I think. It's really is the flagship event for Touring Pro Series. I would have had a mini argument with you when you were saying it's the flagship event, but if you look at the people who have signed up for that series now,
yeah,
it's just no contest. So
Ryan always knows what he's talking about. And Van Dorn did a 2:09.2 on that lap. Not that he needed to, Stoffel. There's a point. You've got to have mercy sometimes. You know, like football teams winning like 7-0 and they don't, they're winning 4-0 and they don't really try harder. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
I'm joking, of course, Stoffel, but it's very discouraging for the rest of the drivers, I'm sure.
He does look exceptional, and he would be really a deserving champion considering he missed the first round. But obviously, we can't really say he's the champion now because anything can happen in these 2 races. We've seen it before.
In the ATCC. He usually does.
Yeah, exactly.
And Miguel Neto has been lurking in that second position in the championship all season long. They've had different leaders in the championship. It's been Torborg, Barrick, and now Van Dorn. But Neto's been in second almost the whole time. It's been kind of one step forward, one step back for him. But it's been a big improvement over season 3 for Miguel. A huge improvement consistency-wise.
Yeah, exactly. He's been much more consistent this season than he has been before. He still suffers a little bit from when he's in the middle of the pack. His pace doesn't seem to be as strong as when he's at the front of the field. He still suffers a little bit from that. I wonder if that's focusing on other cars rather than the track itself. But he's certainly, as you say, he's certainly improved, and he's come on leaps and bounds, and is currently second in the championship. So
absolutely, after a season where he finished 5th last year, so shows how far he's come forward, because the standard has been even higher this year. And Torborg is the reigning champion. and he's third in the championship, and many would say not got a hope of winning this title because the BMW is so quick at this track as well, isn't it?
Absolutely flying. You just have to look at the leaderboard to see that. I mean, we've seen BMWs at the top of the timesheets actually quite recently in most of the events. Yeah, you'd have to say that NATO, Talborg, in the front-wheel drive cars, they're obviously different cars, but you'd have to say it's going to be very tricky for them to beat the BMWs.
And Vincent Khan is one of the drivers who's a bit of a crowd favourite. Had lots of bad luck this season so far. Whenever he seems to find himself in a position to be challenging for a good result, especially in race 1, he seems to find contact either with teammates or with or otherwise, and end up ruining his entire weekend. But this is one of the tracks where he can shine because the S60 is so quick in a front line, in a straight line.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is in the right front-wheel drive car. You'd have to say there's two cars really that you'd want to be in the BMW around here. We'll just say that NATO was 5th in the championship. Also, last season, did we use this version of Sebring?
We did not. We used the old version of Sebring last
year.
Well, so.
Anyway, the old version of the Sebring pole was a 2-minute 12.4 by VR. So that just shows you that it was a BMW that was quick.
Absolutely, it's got so much long straights, and the BMW is just king at that.
Danny Asbury and Swiderski were 2nd and 3rd, both in BMWs as well. So
Swiderski's only ATCC win came at this track, in fact.
Indeed.
So that just shows exactly how quick the BMWs are at this particular place. And Andrei Kaid is fighting with Mr. Yuri Braham. By the way, it's not Braham, but in English apparently he says he says Braham, but it's Braham in Dutch.
Oh,
and he's going to be very annoyed for me saying that because he doesn't like the way I pronounce it. It's not Dutch enough for him. So I might stick with Braham instead.
Yeah, I prefer Braham anyway. It doesn't sound like you're spitting on someone.
There is Yuri. He's fighting for 6th in this championship, like we were saying. He finished 4th last year, and we're about to go to qualification. Normally, Toby, I'd say to you, who's going to get pole position? And but lately it's been a bit futile asking you that because it's been a bit obvious. So I'm going to say, who's going to get 2nd?
Do I get Curly Willy if I get it right?
Yes, you get a Curly Willy. In fact, you might get even a Mars bar.
Okay. I'm going to say VR if I get a Mars bar.
Okay.
There we go. Because I don't think Lauritsen is quite there at the moment. He's still a bit of a rough diamond and needs a bit of tender loving care to get the full amount of pace out of him.
Absolutely, the raw pace is there, but the results have not been coming. Apart from, of course, that win, I say in rabbit ear commas, at Laguna Seca. Unfortunately, he was stripped of that win.
So rabbit ear commas.
Rabbit ear commas, yes. I was doing, everyone knows what rabbit ear commas are.
The technical term from Brian Cannon there.
Exactly, that's what I'm here for, Toby. To provide intelligent wordage. Lauritsen's on track at the moment. Lauritsen's going to finish his lap first, so we might just follow him round for half his lap, then catch up with Van Dorn as he goes through also. Like you said about Lauritsen, there's plenty of potential there, isn't there, in Lauritsen? So lots and lots of raw speed, just the concentration levels and not making those small mistakes. And he's been especially poor, in fact, in the Super Bowl this season, apart from that Laguna Seca session.
He needs guidance. He needs someone to. He needs to just sort of take a step back occasionally. I think he pushes very, very hard, and he's very keen to do well. And I think that he can be his own worst enemy at times. As a result, he is very quick, and there's a lot of potential there.
We all know that feeling when you don't. No disrespect to people who are 16, 17, but when you're that age, you do tend to push too hard. You try too hard. You think you do many things, and then as you get a bit older, it kind of matures. I mean, Bono, Huiz, and Van Dorn, and Talborg notwithstanding. Yeah,
you can pick anyone pretty much who's exceptionally fast, and you can watch them mature. I mean, people who aren't even right at front running pace. People like Eric Veit, for example, was such a loose cannon when he first joined, and he's a little bit more relaxed now. And
just a little bit.
Only
too relaxed because he does provide plenty of entertainment for our viewers.
Of course, but you can see there's been a certain amount of growing up with regards to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. When he was in welterweight master season 2, of course, he was very much a loose cannon and ended up taking a break from Touring Pro Series at one point. So, but now, of course, he's matured quite a bit, and like you're saying, that's a perfect example. And Lauritsen there.
Well, look at this! I hadn't thought of this. I wonder if he'll go wide as well, coming through the final corner, because that's something that I found gaining an advantage. If you come,
aren't really supposed to in the ATCC. They actually been instructed not really to do that.
Fair enough. Was that as a result of?
No, not at all. It was just something people asked, and he mentioned that Keith said that no. So.
All right.
But also, if you go wide on the track, you actually get a cut warning as well. So you can't do it on a timed lap, or really in the race. Otherwise, 3 of those and you're out. But Van Dorn started his lap first now, so we're going to follow along with him. I know it's very boring to follow along with Van Dorn. It's not boring at all because people can appreciate the artistry and the placement and the momentum that he carries into the corners.
Just watch his. Now we're on board. Watch his left wheel. You'll see it very rarely doesn't. It through the middle of a corner. If you're okay, we're going to look at the right hand wheel, but we're
going to turn right in a second, so I thought it might.
Okay, fair enough. Watch his wheel. I bet you he takes just the right amount of curb. If not just on the white line, in fact, through here. Look at that.
That's perfect, isn't it? It just clips the curb.
Through here as well. It doesn't need to be on the curb, so he's on the white line.
Yep. Exactly. And through
here. Absolutely bang on, inch perfect.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. You've got to use all of the available track. As you mentioned, it does frustrate you quite a lot, I know, Toby, that drivers don't seem to use enough of all the track. I mean, there obviously he slight lock up and went wide, but the principles remain the same all the way through. Use as much track as you can.
There's no excuse for turning in a foot away from the edge of the track. None at all. And it really does frustrate me when people are saying, "Oh, I don't understand how I'm 2-3 tenths slower." Well, for a start, there are some very basic things you can do that can definitely make you quicker for no cost. You don't even have to try. You just have to make sure you're using your eyes. And we use them all the time. If we're getting a chocolate bar out of the cupboard or whatever. We use our eyes.
Could you not come up with something better than that, there, Toby?
Okay, well, yes, but you know what I mean.
Chocolate bar out of the... You're hungry or something? Because you wanted a curly world, and then you want a Mars bar, now you want chocolate bar out of the cupboard.
I'm absolutely starving. I'm looking around for food, and I haven't got any.
Well, we'll be playing the virtual V8 Supercars trailer during warm-up, so you can go and grab something then.
Sounds like an excellent plan. Van Dorn through Sunset Bend.
Yes. Oh, what a great name for a bend. I don't know who came up with that, but it was an immense name. I have a feeling Sunset might be out that way, so it might have contributed towards that. But Van Dorn's coming towards the line now, and it's going to be a 8.988. That has to be as much as the perfect Super Pole lap as he could possibly have done, actually. That is a superb lap there from Stoffel Van Dorn. 8.988, 1.1 seconds faster than the reigning champion. I know.
Lauritsen down in third, so that's covered his chance of being second, which I'm quite glad about because I quite fancy a Mars bar. Where's
so
VR?
His VR is half a second down already. That's after the first sector, I believe.
Yeah, that's the first sector. It's obviously a very, very long lap here, so you are going to get a slightly extended, a second round here. If you were at, I think of a good example, Vitus, for example, that would be half a second. But yeah, still. Absolutely.
But after one sector, half a second down, that's 1.5 seconds perhaps, and that will be very close to Lauritsen. So, and it'll be Tolborg on second row. So, on the first row,
look, 8,
it's close. Close. Are you going to get your Mars bar?
I hope so.
VR coming around. Now, these corners here are very difficult Le Mans, like you were saying, especially those high curves, which you do have to take them, but you have to be able to compensate for them also as well. Out now onto Ullman Straight. It's been hard. VR did say he's finding it hard to motivate himself for ATCC for the final round. Obviously, he's a distant chance of getting the championship, and the virtual V8 Supercars has kind of been taking quite a lot of his time up at the moment. But he is out of track, and one of the fastest drivers. Will he get the front row? Will it be an all-BMW front row as he drives towards the line? Of course, taking the shortest route towards the line, Villeneuve style, and he goes third, no Mars bar for Toby Davis.
It was a good final sector. He lost 5 tenths, as we were saying, half a second in the first sector, and that's what really did his lap time in. After that, it was a reasonable lap, it looked like, but and there's just no one can hold a candle to Van Dorn. He's going to take pole by over a second here, isn't he?
Yeah, well, who else to challenge? There's Andre Cardo left, perhaps, and Vincent Kahn. Never know what Reece Gardner does on these longer tracks. He tends to like them. But Barrick in 6th, and in the second half of the season, it's been very poor for Keith. Really, he's been really struggling to keep getting to those top 5s.
It's to be fair to Keith, he's spent a lot of time and effort in promoting and helping out with Touring Pro Series and bringing sponsors on board. So he has had a lot of time and of course real life work commitments as well. So he's had a lot of his time taken up. But you know,
absolutely. But it does take it out of you, doesn't it? It takes that that 2-3 tenths of a second out of you.
If you walk into a race and you haven't had quite as much sleep as you need, or you missed a meal or whatever, it can affect you.
It does affect you. There's no bones about it, to be honest.
And it's an underrated thing actually, being self-prepared, just sort of physically and mentally for a race. It sounds a bit extreme for an online race, but it's the difference between winning and losing sometimes.
Well, it is, because the way things are going now and how high the standard is getting, that is the next edge you have to have. You have to be prepared. Vincent Kahn's not on the sort of lap I would expect him to be on. 1.2 seconds down after 2 sectors, but he might be around about 6th or 7th. Should be in 7th at least, ahead of Yuri Braham, not Braham.
Yeah, he'll be in and around there, won't he? Back end of the top 10.
And here he is, Vincent Kahn, with his distinctive yellow tinted windows,
which you dislike strongly.
I just don't fit this car.
I have to say,
since season 1 he's happened, in fact.
That was a good line, by the way, through the final corner. Absolutely spot on.
Don't go across. Oh, Vincent. What track he could have used? Never mind.
What's he doing over there?
Oh. Seventh anyway. Oh, he could have got 6th perhaps with that.
Definitely.
It cost him a 10th of a second. Never mind, Vincent. He got 7th. That's fine. Don't mind Toby. He's just griping. Hungry. And Andrew Cario's out in track at the moment as well. It was actually, just mentioning a quick couple of birthdays here actually. Duarte Lopez's birthday earlier this week, and it was Keith's birthday 1 day ago. Well, 2 days ago now for us Europeans, but it was 1 day ago. So happy 27th to Keith. Not sure quite how old Duarte Lopez is. I won't say how old he is, just in case I offend him.
I'm not even going to try it. I was going to go and Facebook him.
And 8th for Kaido, so he knocks Yuri Braham down as well. Reece Garner goes 12th. Who else is left to go out on track? Duarte Lopez is around here somewhere. He's still in the pits, so he's not going to settle lap time.
He's not going to settle lap time. I was just going to say, I was going to Facebook him, but there's probably 16 million Duarte Lopez's on Facebook, so someone can pop up in the chat and let us know. That'd be good. Daniel Wood.
And use all the track, boys. Never mind. And Daniel Drysdale's line to 12.83 now, so it goes to 18. He'll be quite happy with that, actually. Because he spent most of the season in Server 2. Now he's in Server 1 for this final event. Several guys are actually. In fact, there's Ray Lilly here.
Ray Lilly, yeah.
He's in Server 1 for the final race of the season. Also Neil Larson as well.
Yeah, Ray Lilly, someone I'd quite fancy him to do well. Better than we think he might. Someone I've been following in Server 2, and he's actually quite consistent, and he puts the effort in, so...
Been improving a lot as well, hasn't he?
Exactly. So it'd be nice to see him
compared to the start of the season.
Plus he's northern, so you'd like him.
Is he northern? Whereabouts is he from?
Good question. Not quite sure. He's definitely northern.
Can't be doing with his southern shandy drinking. I would say, yeah. I can't say that next word, can I?
No.
Southern shandy drinking idiots.
Anyway, the racing.
It begins with a B, by the way, guys, in case you want to fill the blanks in. Berserkers. Van Dorn is on pole position once again. That's his 3rd pole position in a row. I'm sorry if I'm not sounding very excited about that, but Van Dorn is just mothering the field at the moment. I'm not quite sure how the other drivers feel. I know how I felt at Calder Park, and it didn't feel very good. So I can imagine how the drivers are actually feeling, to be honest. Jesper Tolberg would be very, very pleased with second on the grid. I have to say. I mean, if someone had said to him, "You're going to be second on the grid on the front row," he would have bitten your hand off before this race.
Not that he'll hold candle to Van Dorn off the line. I wouldn't imagine.
It's a rolling start, of course.
Oh yeah, a rolling start for race 1, but Van Dorn still manages to get a jump on the field. I don't know quite what he's doing in that car.
Some kind of magic, I think. There's no way to explain it. Actual Paul Daniels-esque magic.
Actual magic. The reason Van Dorn's so quick is actual magic. You heard it here first.
That's, again, wordage. And Tolberg, I'd say, we will be very pleased with that. He's the reigning champion. He's about to be deposed, it seems. But he's still in with a shout. And, of course, he does want to win the team's championship as well. Keith has won the team championship in all... in Season 1 there was no team championship. But in Season 2 and Season 3 he won the team's championship with Vincent Kahn and with Saul Boucher. And Jesper Tolberg in this particular season he is right now. So, obviously he really wants to win that team title again if he can't win the drivers' title. So those guys are going to go all out to beat VR and NATO, and it's poised pretty well actually. Got a bit of a sandwich there: VR and NATO in 3rd and 5th, and Torborg and Barrick in 2nd and 6th. So again, those guys will be close together all season.
Torborg's another one that I'm obviously very proud to say is now a THR driver. Just thought I'd get that one in as well.
So you get that one in as well. Mikkel NATO is, and you're beating him in the V8 pre-qualification as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I had actually, for a while.
Very pleased about that.
For a while, I'd had an identical lap time to him, but I'd done more laps, so I had to beat him.
Yes. Only took you 6 hours.
And yeah, 6 hours later, I'd gained 400ths.
No, 6 hours, you're going 4 tenths.
Oh, sorry,
right?
4 tenths.
Yeah.
4 tenths.
400, not that bad. But Mikkel NATO is in 5th position. On the grid, 6th position is Keith Barrick. Everyone's getting plenty of laps in here in the warm-up. Everyone's a bit worried about the pace, I think.
I think they're also
more than usual.
Yeah, there must be a complete different way of setting up the cars, I guess, between because you've got to get the tyres to last for a lap in qualifying. Yeah. It's
we don't normally see such a busy track as this. This is quite different. Maybe, of course, because we've been such a long lap, perhaps the tyres cool off quite a lot on Super Bowl. I don't know. I would have thought actually that it would benefit because you'd be able to have a longer lap to heat the tyres up.
Well, yeah, you'd think so. I don't know.
But there are lots of people out on track, aren't there? There's Lily going through. There's Kaido, Braham out on track.
Perhaps they're all practicing pit stops. Look.
Yeah, that's a key thing as well, of course. Gonsalves.
Sorry, we didn't finish the grid. We got to about P6.
Bring it back. There you go.
Yeah, come on. Vincent Khan 7.
Vincent Khan 7 and 8. Kaido and Khan and Kaido. S60 and Cruz on the 4th row. Braham and Gonsalves, Accord and Cruz on the 5th row. And one of the drivers I'm impressed with this season actually has been Hugo Gonsalves. He's been a steady improvement all throughout the season, in fact. I've been very impressed with him. Donald Lung as well has been very impressive since he came to Server 1, in fact. He started out the season a little bit weak, and then in the second server he was extremely strong, got into Server 1 and has been very quick again. So quick that Keith Barrett couldn't find a way past him at Adelaide, and he's just been punted off the track by Van Scheppingen. No love lost between those two guys. Reece Garner's in 12th position. He's had a solid second half of the season actually. His race much improved on his first half.
He had that brilliant result at second race in Vitus, obviously from putting wet tyres on. Why no one put wet tyres on apart from him and NATO, I have no idea. But he what
a race!
What was it? 4th position or something? He finished in that race.
3rd position, in fact, actually. After he was 4th on the track, but in fact VR was penalised for the contact with Braham.
Yeah. So that really kick-started him, and he did well in Adelaide as well. He's in 12th here, so.
Yep, very strong second half of the season for him. Robert Isles as well has been improving all throughout the season. He said at the start of the season he said he's found it really difficult. He could not find the speed at all, and of course the season has improved quite a lot from season 3. 14th place is Gary Lennon. 15th place is Danny Esbury, who is back in Server 1 for a long time since he's been in Server 1, in fact, actually. Since the first round, in fact. So Danny's back in his BMW. I told him I expect 2 top 10s from him here today. 16th place is Vinicius Ferreira. 17th place is Michael Van Scheppingen for FDR, who just sort of punt off Donald Lung earlier in his Peugeot 407, his trusty Peugeot 407. 18th place, Daniel Wood. 19th place is Ray Lilly. 20th place is Paul Wood. 21st is Neil Larson. 22nd, Michael Carver. And rounding out 23 was Duarte Lopez with no time. And as we were saying, Virtual V8 Supercars is starting on the 28th of April. And here is a little video for you to enjoy. As you can see from that video, of course, that is now starting on the 28th of April. We're currently in pre-qualification for that, and that ends on Sunday. You can follow all of that from TouringProSeries.com and clicking on the VV8S PQ records, which you can check out. And the web page which you find will look something like this. And that is the current standings at the moment. You see Greco, Van Dorn, Levesque, Stahl, Eilish, Lemo. Our very own Davis is in there as well. He's just improved, in fact, actually. So if we refresh the page, there we go. Davis is up to 6th, in fact.
Thank you, Ryan.
In those standings. And so Kevin Brent has jumped on the server as well. There is Francisco VR, for those people who know ATCC, of course. Asbury's there up in 14th and Torborg in 13th. So it's very stacked, this field, this season. And we'll just close that down, and we'll get back to the action. So, predictions for this event, Toby. Last Friday the 13th was very lucky for Van Dorn, in fact, actually, because he started the season on Friday the 13th. And don't worry about semantics with it was actually Saturday the 14th for him. But it's the 13th, because it's American Touring Car Championship, we go by American time. And he disconnected.
He did, and you'd have to say
Well, this Friday the 13th the same.
If he'd not disconnected, he might have had the championship wrapped up by now.
Yeah, but wouldn't need to turn up at this event.
No, but unfortunately he did. So he does have to have 2 strong results still. It's not
absolutely.
It's not complete. It's not over and done for him yet.
Not over till the Fat Lady sings.
No, and 1 DNF, and suddenly he's in deep trouble. Because he just doesn't have that drop score that most of the others do. Although the majority of his rivals have actually used up their 2 drop scores. VR had one at Laguna Seca, and he's used the other one up at Adelaide. So his are gone.
NATO's the strongest of those drives, actually. In fact, I think if the season hadn't had the drop scores, NATO would be in charge of the championship. If I'm correct, because he's actually dropping 62 points.
Yeah.
He'd have another 62 points. He'd be some 40 ahead, more than 40 ahead of Van Dorn himself. So, but of course, the drop scores is there for a reason. It's exactly the reason why it's there is because Van Dorn. It was the kind of a great example of the fact why we do have those drop scores, because if anything does go wrong that's completely out of your control, you are able to still compete.
It's a good method, especially for double header races. If sometimes people have no internet connection on a certain day and so on, and if you miss 2 races, then it's much more drastic than if it's a long season where you've got races spread out over every couple of weeks, like V8 Supercars, for example, the virtual V8 Supercars. That's going to have more races spread out over a longer distance, so you don't need to put drop scores in that. So I do like the drop score system. I race in real life, and it's there in real life for if you have technical issues and so on, and it does make sense. But it's a little bit artificial, and they dropped it in Formula 1, and it makes. I'd
have to say I'm not actually that big a fan of drop scores myself.
Yeah, me neither.
Just from a personal point of view.
Me neither. I think
just the way ATCC is.
Yeah, it entirely depends on the championship, and I think ATCC is one of those championships where it does benefit it.
Absolutely, especially with the fact in R Factor is much more stable, and you can actually rejoin in warm-up should you disconnect. If you disconnect in warm-up in race, you just can't get back in. So that's even more.
Which makes no sense at all.
Absolutely, and that is a message from NATO to his father, who sadly passed away just before the 6th round at Vitus, and we covered that at the time. It says "Obrigado por tudo, pai," which translates as "Thank you for everything, Dad." And the whole team is running those the black bonnets in respect. In fact, there is Andrew Corrado, as you can see, with the black bonnet also, and there's Gonçalves just in behind also with a black bonnet. We are coming up now towards Le Mans. In fact, we're on to Ulm Straight, in fact, for Mr. Van Dorn and Mr. Torborg. Van Dorn and Torborg, fittingly the champion-elect and the reigning champion on the final front row of the season. There's some poetry there.
Front row, anyway. Obviously, I think race 2 will have a completely different look to it on the front row of the grid.
Absolutely, it's no qualifying in that one, of course. And
no, top 8 reverse, so there'll be people looking to get in that top 8
I've told Keith to go for 8th position and get pole position in race 2 and go for that elusive win.
Which
he hasn't done since. It's incredible considering he's been in the championship hunt for the last 2 seasons, a whole 2 seasons. He's only had 1 win in that time, and that was the first race of season 3.
Yeah, so that is something he could do. Anyway, we're coming up to the start-finish line, Brian.
We are indeed, and away from the start line we go, and Van Dorn gets a good jump there. In fact, it's a great jump, and Via's getting a great jump also as well. Torbo's going to get a bit swamped here. There goes Lauritsen also at the inside of Via and Torborg, and Via leads. Van Dorn leads. Via's in second. Via leads Torborg through, and now in behind we've got Lauritsen and Barrett. Barrett's had a good start also as well. He's up to 5th. In fact, he's down to 6th because Miguel has cut back on him. Oh, Keith! He's sideways on the grass. Gets going once again, and he's dropped way back. Where is he right now? He's in behind Gary Lennon and Brian Shefflin's going up the inside of him also as well. Down to 15th goes Keith Berwick. On the grass he got under braking, Toby.
He just completely lost it under braking, got a wheel on the grass as you say, and floored the throttle, just about kept it. But as you say, he's lost a stack of positions down to 15th. Oh. They've both done, as you say, both done exactly the same thing. You'd think they would have learned from each other, but clearly not.
Torborg is riding behind. He's the only driver taking it to the BMWs right now because Lauritsen's pulling up alongside. Is Lauritsen going to have a look down the inside into Cunningham? There he goes. Through he goes.
It's a good move by Lauritsen. He didn't.
Very sensible move, in fact. Actually.
Yeah, he didn't allow Torborg enough room to cut back, but just about took enough apex speed through to not lose too much momentum. So
now
it's still in behind
Via. Hassling Via. Of course, these drivers been bested by Van Dorn already. Van Dorn has cleared up the road. 1.4 seconds already ahead of Francisco Villa on this opening lap. And Lauritsen looks hungry to me.
He does.
He's actually the fastest of the BMWs at the moment, apart from Van Dorn.
He wants to get by Villa, doesn't he? He's right in behind actually, just 3/10. He's run too wide. Come on,
too wide. And that's exactly what we talk about with him. And now Torbo's going to get the run also. He's right in the slipstream, but of course the BMW is so quick in a straight line, you actually don't get that much slipstream effect from it because
especially compared to the Honda.
Away. Exactly, yes, the Honda is not very quick in a straight line.
It's one of the slowest, if not the slowest, isn't it?
And there's Holborg sideways into that final corner. I was just about to talk about that. Has Lauritsen gone wide? No, he hasn't. I thought I just missed him, just disappeared from the camera view there. But Nato is in 5th, just tracking Torborg. And of course Torborg is not getting much help from Keith Barrick here in trying to win the team's championship because Keith is back to 11th.
Yeah, but
looked like there's been a bit of hassle in midfield because Leonard was in 14th and Barrick in 15th. Now they both moved up 4 positions. And Leonard going far too deep there into turn 1. Understeered right out. See the whole front wheel smoking, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do at that particular corner.
Yeah, he just took far too much momentum through. Keith sneaks up the inside, took that position from him, but yeah, you're right. There is a big gap in front of Keith as well, Keith Barrick. So it looks like there was a bit of contact with an incident there, and Van Cheppingham out of the race. He was in there. So
he was in there. In fact, you're absolutely right. He was actually the guy challenging Barrick just as Barrick was recovering. So you have to say something definitely has happened there, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way we can speculate, but there is a gap.
Lennon's wide again on the brakes.
There is a very large Michael Van Cheppingham-sized hole in front of Barrick's car, so
that would make sense. There's a bit of smoke up ahead here also as well. The camera's right next to the braking zone, perhaps that's why that is. But Lennon going backwards here makes another mistake under braking into the hairpin, and nip through goes Reese Gardner in the XSG Motorsport Honda. And he's got Asbury right behind him as well. Asbury, I expect to get to 2 top 10s here, I told him. He's 13th at the moment, so he's in prime position. Challenge for that top 10.
He showed very strong and very surprising pace actually in the V8 pre-qualification. So yeah, and he was of course a podium finisher here last season in Server 1 in the ATCC. So of course it's a slightly different version of Sebring, but he does have a bit of history around this track, so you'd expect him to do reasonably well.
And Vinicius Ferreira is another driver who's in this server for the first time this season. Dragged himself out of that server too. And look at these guys at the back here, Larson, Wood and Ray Lilly. Larson and Lilly know each other very well. Paul Wood's been in server 1, towards the back of the server 1 admittedly, but in server 1 all season long. Now he's got plenty of company, and Lilly's trying to go up the inside, down into Sunset Bend, thinks better of it. Van Dorn, fastest lap of the race. on lap 3, second flying lap. And Larson goes by. Wood tries to nip up the inside, but of course, it's easy to chop people off there, and you end up not actually being able to make a move stick at all, despite having a better line and better speed. And Lily's going for Paul Wood once again. Perhaps that line from Larson has just chopped Wood off a little bit, and Lily down the outside now. Wood on the inside. Lily's going back for the cutback on the exit of the corner.
Oh, didn't he?
Pushing very hard, but Wood. Was a very strange line there from Paul, trying to keep the inside.
I'd say it looked like
in again.
To me, it looked like Lily just clipped the wall on the inside there. Actually, it seemed to be aiming to cut backward, and then suddenly bounced further right. I don't know whether it was the trick of my eye or whatever.
I thought that as well, but then I thought maybe it was trick of the eye because Paul was so narrow.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that happened or not, but that's what it looked like first glance.
Either way, they managed to all stay in the same position somehow after all that. And Duarte Lopez is having a fight with Donald Leung. So Leung has been involved perhaps with Michael Van Scheppen, you would think, because Leung was in the midfield as well. So it's all beginning to piece together here. Unfortunately, we can't check because there's no replays, but
Leung was in about 12, wasn't he? Look at this, 3.1 seconds.
3.1 seconds already. VR and Lauritsen can't find a way past. Torborg's hanging with these guys, and it's a long race here. They've got 17 laps. 17 laps isn't very long, but this track itself is pretty long. So it might favour the front wheel drivers a little bit more because the BMWs do have higher tyre wear.
Yeah, I was going to mention this actually when we saw Talborg drifting through the final corner. It's obvious. It's obvious that the front wheel drive guys, they do have better tyre wear, and they've also set their cars up for a lot of oversteer. You can see Talborg through there as well. A lot of oversteer on his car, and that's just purely to protect the front tyres over the race distance. That balance will come to him, and he will pick up a little bit of pace compared to the other guys as he comes through the stint. But you can see his back end's twitching, and he's just trying to control it.
That's a big mistake there, actually. Big understeer there from Torborg. I'm not quite sure what happened. It was very strange.
He got a big twitch on and had to gather that up, and then he had understeer through the second phase of the corner. So that's what happened there. But he's, as you say, he's lost a lot of ground, borrowing a lot of the pit entry as well.
He's only put 2 wheels over the pit entry left, Jesper. So. Just chill out a little bit there. Our reigning champion.
He'll probably argue that these 2 inside wheels were on the white line.
That's perfectly valid then if he did so. And of course, doing that from this, of course, all we can say is pixels, can't we?
Well, yes, about 4 of them dancing about in a sort of random way.
And Torborg is now having to hold off Nato rather than hanging on to the back of Lauritsen and VR. I was going to talk about here's actually VR and Lauritsen. VR being challenged. He's very slow in the first sector, in fact, actually, VR, because he was half a second slower in that qualifying lap. And challenged by Torborg on the opening lap also as well. In that
it is area. A very what I would say is that it's a very, very tricky section to get right every time, because
of course you've driven here and won here in the World Touring Masters.
Yeah,
you first-hand experience of that.
If you're going to put an inconsistent lap in, it won't be through sector 2 and 3 because they're relatively, compared to sector 1, they're relatively straightforward. Even the tricky section coming onto the back straight.
Lauritsen going for it. Trying to worry VR more than anything else, I think. Sorry, Toby, carry on.
So, I mean, Tower's a 90-degree right, so that's easy enough. And you come through the sort of flat double left-hander now, that's easy enough as well. So it's really the first sector where you've got to get those 3 corners coming onto the back straight. Absolutely right. Yes, they are as well. Yeah. Which can unstable the car. So if you're gonna be half a second inconsistent, it's going to be through that first sector.
And it seems like Via is able to hold off Lauritsen throughout every other section of the track. So that's well, maybe not here because VR is going straight across the track now, trying to break the toe of Lauritsen.
This is one of those where does it constitute more than one move or not? Because you're not anywhere near a braking zone.
But of course, drivers behind can do as many moves as they like because there's no overlap involved. So you could say there's no overlap involved, so therefore you can do as many moves as you like. But Lauritsen now on VR.
And they're right at the sort of line astern now. It'd be interesting to see whether Lauritsen has a dive into turn 1.
His favourite word, that one, is it? Line astern?
Yes, it is now, isn't it? I'm glad we started that one off.
Well, favourite phrase, should I say? It's actually 2 words.
Oh, yeah, I was so close to the wall there. You don't really get that on the track cams. You don't really see exactly how close they are to the wall.
Looking back at Lauritsen now from VR.
This is the section I was on about.
Yeah. And I hate this corner here. Absolutely hate that corner there. I always get it wrong. And that's
here we go.
As well. Here we go. Here goes Lauritsen. He's going through, is he?
Yeah, he's got that one done easily. He's cleared him easily by now. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Just about easily. VR might have a little look back, just worry Lauritsen. VR is... Oh, Lauritsen's gone straight on and conceded the position once again. That's what we talk about, Toby. He gets the position, all he has to do is be sensible to the next corner and gives it away. After all the hard work of 5 laps, it's all been chucked away again.
You know me, Ryan, and I'm just sitting here just shaking my head at that.
Unfortunately. That is the Lauritsen we know, and it's exciting for everyone to watch. It's interesting. We could be all like Van Dorn and drive away from the field and be extremely quick and great to watch from a purist point of view, but not quite exciting.
Well,
no offense to Stoffel, of course. It's Stoffel's job to go as quickly as he can, and I'm sure he doesn't mind being bored, quite frankly.
He doesn't put a wheel wrong. That's the amazing thing about him. It's not... I mean, sometimes it can look a bit odd if some people are flying about, going sideways, missing apexes, and they're still quick, but...
Oh, Kaido out! Kaido's out of the race. Sorry to interrupt, but Kaido is out of the race, and had left the game also as well, so we won't be taking part in the next couple of races either. So that's pretty much Yuri Braham's 6th place in the championship sealed. So that's Kaido out. So that's the last we'll see of Kaido for this ATCC Season 4. But Khan, Gonçalves, and
look at this Barrett into P8.
Yeah, this is the battle watching right now. On board with Barrett, looking back at Gonçalves. Go forward, there we go. And here is Khan being tracked by Keith. He's managed to get so close to the ball, but he's managed to be able to get it.
Oh, around the outside! Oh, don't tell me he's got it, hasn't done.
No, he won't make his stick. Out wide he goes, and he gets to lose position to Gonçalves. Gonçalves goes straight through. He says, "Thank you very much, Keith."
Oh, look what's happening further up as well. Lauritsen back over with VR. He's got the undercut.
VR's through. Torborg's going through also as well. It's side by side here now. Torborg, NATO involved also as well. VR's under attack. Torborg's through. Torborg is through, and VR's lost 2 positions. It only a small mistake, Toby. That's all it needs.
It was. I think he was defending from Lauritsen actually, coming into T1. Yeah.
He's struggling out of that corner, isn't he? Really struggling.
It's going narrow, and it's leaving him with not much room. He's trying to take the same apex speed as the guys who are going a little bit wider through there. It's one of those which has 2 or 3 lines. Here we go.
Side by side with the 2 teammates, great friends also. Torborg goes wide off the apex, trying very, very hard in that Honda to try and get a good exit. Pulls away down the straight a little bit, but now the BMW should be able to catch up just ever so slightly. You can see just the gap stop increasing and start just to stay stable.
Barrick's back through on Gonçalves, and he's still right in behind Khan.
So Lauritsen, you see, has spent 6 laps trying to get past VR. He's now 8 seconds behind Van Dorn, unfortunately.
This will be interesting because this is Lauritsen's forte, is where he's got a bit of clear air, and he can do a few hot laps if you like. So this will be interesting to see whether he can at least maintain that 8-second gap.
So we've got pit stops coming up pretty soon. We're on to lap 7, there's 17 laps, so drivers will be looking to come in the next 2 or 3 laps. We'll look out for those also. You said Khan and Barrick and Gonçalves battle is going on. As you said, Barrick has got past Gonçalves and is now run wide, and Gonçalves is saying, I want the position back once again. Down the inside into Le Mans, but actually it's incredibly difficult to pass into that corner, isn't it, Toby? Very difficult indeed. You're
much better off getting a better exit, and if you watch like Barrick now, he's going to be right in behind Khan, because Khan's got a worse exit. In fact, this is the issue though with the Honda, it's just not so good in a straight line. He's got all of that run, but the S60 is just a little bit better in a straight line, so... Oh, that was a good move!
Straight to the inside. Oh, but Khan's hanging tough, he's hanging tough, and Khan's going to keep the position, I think. Great driver for both of them there.
That corner's almost like...
With moves. But side by side down the main straight.
That final corner is almost like an oval, where you've got 2 different lines. You can run right around the outside and you get a slightly better exit. Oh, and Khan squeeze Barrick into the wall. Here we go!
Barrick to the inside, not going to make the move there, I don't think. And Khan, perfect drive in there, perfect line. Just up ahead of us, we can see Braham is in a lonely 5th position at the moment. NATO, VR, and... Oh, where's Torborg's pitted? Torborg's pitted. Sorry about that, I was a little panicky then. But Torborg's into the pits. Several drivers into the pits, actually. Who's in the pits here? There is Gary Lennon in the pits. Lung's in the pits also. There's Torborg leaving. And Gardner as well. So, at the end of lap 7, the 17-lap race, the front-wheel drive cars feeling the need to come in, keep that balance, and drivers have to keep to the other side of that corner. I'm pretty sure Torborg decided to hit that one then.
I have to say...
Just to make a point.
I have to say that looking at Torborg's car, it would be really interesting to follow him just for half a lap. Because at the start of the race, he was having huge oversteer moments everywhere, And now he's replaced the front tyres, just the
Beautiful line
front
through
it
there.
would have
That was
been.
a beautiful line through there. It really
It's going to
was.
be even worse. And his tyres are cold now, so the balance will probably be about right. But as soon as his front tyres heat up just a little bit, just watch him go sideways to the final corner.
We'll catch up to him in the final corner in a minute. That's 2 minutes away, of course.
There's a curly whirly on it.
There's a curly whirly on it, okay. And Curly Willy bets that he's sideways into the final corner, so we'll have to make sure we actually catch back up to that. Lauritsen 9.3 seconds now behind, and VR is still tracking Lauritsen. In fact, actually, it looks like Lauritsen slowed down a little bit, and this could leave him vulnerable to Torborg passing him in the pit stop phase.
The thing is, though, if you look at Van Dorn's lap times, it's only 0.6 off while he was the fastest lap he set. So and Lauritsen's obviously is slightly slower, but
sorry, Toby, you were telling me about English. Fastest lap what he set.
Yeah, innit.
Never mind. Moving on. Lauritsen leading from VR and NATO. I know you're making a valid point there.
Van Dorn in the pit lane, by the way.
Gonçalves and Barrick are far apart now, look. Gonçalves has cleared these two, and Barrick and Khan are still hard at it. Ex-teammates, of course, these two.
Top 4 in the pit, top 5 in the pits.
So everyone into the pit. Well, Barrick and Gonçalves go in also. Barrick carries on. So Barrick, a very
Khan
good
does.
strategy there.
Khan pit.
Khan goes into the pits. Here comes the Wood brothers. Side by side, Daniel and Paul. Both in Sayat Leon. Paul there on the inside. On the outside, sorry. Daniel on the inside. All the way around, sorry. I'm confused. Paul now in behind. He lets his brother go into the pits. Where is Jesper Torborg? There's Jesper Torborg. Is he sideways into this final corner? No, he is not.
Oh, I want some chocolate.
So that's my colour, well, no, thank you.
No, no. Giving away chocolate. He's nowhere near them, is he?
Well, where is Torborg? Will stick with him. There he goes. Past Gonçalves. Where on earth is everyone else?
VR, they're miles up the field. Up the
What's
road.
he done? Has he changed all 4 tyres, perhaps?
Ah, now that's a completely different prospect.
Kettle of fish.
Kettle of fish. Yeah.
Torborg, he must have done. That's quite a big gap.
That's a huge gap. Because we haven't seen him make a mistake, have we? I mean, of course, we weren't
No.
following him for that lap, but I assume he didn't make a mistake. Jesper doesn't really make huge errors very often.
No, the gap would tally with being a 4 tyre pit stop, and Lauritsen's had a very good pit stop, look. Very good indeed. He's managed to gap VR and NATO by quite a lot, and NATO's got ahead of VR. VR has gone off at that hairpin, I think. Just saw in the background, I thought I saw some dust. And Lauritsen with a huge lock up into that corner there. You often see that from him. Does he? I don't know if you've driven with him. Obviously, he's one of your teammates now. Does he drive with a lot of rear bias?
Yeah,
It
he
seems
does.
like he does.
Yeah, he does. He drives with a lot of rear bias, and he uses it to back the car into the corners. It's perfectly fine in race and R factor because there's no flat spot recognition. You know, it doesn't really recognise flat spots. It does slightly overheat the rear tyres, but it's nowhere near. But to try that in R factor 2, you won't be able to do that in R factor 2. So
no. Here's Keith Barrick. He's leading this race. We're going to come into the pits this time around, I would presume.
She's got to.
Whether
really.
he changed 4 or 5. 4 or 5. 2 or
4.
4 or 5.
If he changes 5 tyres, then you can give me my curly whirly back.
Vinicius Ferreira is also not pitted, and he's managing to hold up Stoffel Van Dorn a wee bit, but Stoffel Van Dorn comes through and says thank you very much.
He's got a nearly 10-second gap to Lauritsen, and Lauritsen's got 2 or 3 seconds on NATO and VR, so is that NATO in a net third then? Obviously.
Yes, net third, yes, indeed he is.
Because unless Barrick can get... No, Barrick's pitting now, isn't he? So, yeah, so NATO... Oh, look, he slots into third now, so...
I think Barrick's doing a 4 tyre stop as well, you know. Because there goes Gonçalves.
It must be quicker over a race run. It must be quicker for those guys, or else they wouldn't be doing
it. There
it.
goes Gonçalves, and Keith is only just leaving the pits. There is Keith. He's in 10th. Oh, the shot is a bit long. There we go. Yeah, they're definitely... Oh, no, there comes Khan as well, so I don't know, actually. Oh, Keith. Now, that was naughty.
That was naughty. We saw you. We saw you, my friend.
We did see you, Keith, and we're in trouble. Oh, Asprey out of the game.
Oh, no.
Oh, what's happened to Danny?
Oh, I haven't seen anything. It must have just been a DNF. You know, a disconnection.
Oh, he's not even in the game anymore. I can't even tell.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we go back through the field. Lily is now in last position. Not sure what's happened to him. He was in fact fighting with Lars and the Wood brothers. The Wood brothers are now in 13th and 14th. So They've done well. They're still stuck, glued together, these two. It's actually a great shot to see them both together like this. The two Seat Leons.
Paul went with the green headlights, by the way. Daniel with the red.
It is indeed, and I'm not sure why I didn't get that because I actually called all season long.
And Daniel's only just rocked up.
Yes. So, and my apologies to Paul and Daniel. But you can see my confusion. They're quite similar.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Exactly the same cars and exactly the same livery apart from the headlights. But it's nice to have that differentiation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the red goes with the green though.
No, I was thinking that. Normally people do.
It's like bloodshot eyes.
Normally. Right. Anyway, normally people do wing mirrors or a spoiler, and they have slightly different trim. I know in the.
Oh, he's off. Daniel's off, and Duarte Lopez trying to come through. Sorry, carry on. Oh, here he comes. Here comes Duarte Lopez on the outside of this corner. It's actually quite hairy. I would say it's quite hairy around there. It is even more hairy when you make contact.
That was Lopez turning in a little bit, I think.
There's a bit too much of a squeeze there. Vinicius Ferreira wants a piece of the action as well.
He got away with it. What I was saying is, normally you have sort of.
You point out quick.
Yeah, you normally have wing mirrors or a trim, slightly different trim. I know with you and Florian in the Clios, he's got a bright green sort of line on the pillar, hasn't he? And you've got a white,
and a green roll cage as well, I believe.
Yes. So there's that kind of little difference. This is
Vinicius
obviously a
Ferreira
really major.
inside. Oh, Daniel chopped him off quite a lot there. That was a bit risky. It looked to me from the TV camera.
Barrick, by the way, is gaining hand over fist on Gary Lennon. So he'll be up behind Lennon and Gardner.
They must have made a 4-tyre stop, because he's back behind Gary Lennon.
I'd be interested to see what Talbot's doing compared to VR, because that gap was 5 or 6 seconds. It's now, what's that, 3.8.
3.8.
So watch it, because they come through Sector 1, which I believe is through this first... Oh,
yes, just after
the hairpin,
that was okay, that was alright. Just after here, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 3.4 now, so he's gained 4 tenths of a second. Of course, that's VR's poorest sector. Oh, lots of smoke. That's because Lauritsen was in the shot. Lauritsen's car has just gone through the shot.
Yeah,
you can always tell when he's around at Cunningham. This looks like a blown engine. The way he pours smoke off that car. It's like me driving a Clio. Next up in third place. VR is in 4th, still a very lonely 4th place at the moment, but this is looking good for the team championship.
It is. Let's watch for the next split. So 15.1, we're obviously basing this compared to the leader.
Right on board, we can't get any closer to the tarmac.
3.8 look now, because VR actually held station with Van Dorn through that sector.
Did indeed.
Ooh, that's a lot of curb.
Lots and lots of curb. Tom's pushing very hard indeed. Right out to the edge, look at that. Right out to the edge.
One thing I would say about Talbot is he's very good at using all of the track like that. I know I keep harping on about it, I'm sorry, but it is so important to get all of those basic fundamentals right, and he's very good at getting the fundamentals right as Talbot.
Everyone seems to have calmed down quite a lot after the pit stops. Everyone's a bit more spread out. Gonsalves and Braham. Looks like Braham's also gone for the 4 tyres, because Gonsalves is ahead of him. So we'll see that come into play, I would presume, in the next 5 laps, because 5 laps is quite a long time on this track. It's obviously over 10 minutes. But it doesn't seem like it's working particularly well, the 4 tyre thing at the moment. Well,
not at the moment, but of course you expect to see more gained as they come through to the final couple of laps.
Here we are. Here's the battle brewing up right now. This is the key battle on track at the moment, I think, because 8th place is Rhys Gardner, just behind him is Gary Lennon, just gaining on these guys is Keith Barrett, and gaining on them all is Vincent Kahn.
Yeah, this is
for pole position.
Exactly. This is for pole position. No one's going to hold a candle to Braham. He's 5 seconds down the road, whatever. So, you know.
What's with your hold the candle stuff at the moment? You're obsessed with that phrase.
No one's going to touch him because he's 5 seconds down the road. So I
don't think people want to touch him.
You've got anyone.
They're all heterosexuals.
Anyone from Gardner to Vincent Kahn could take pole position for race 2 here. So
any more you want to throw at me?
No.
But in all seriousness, Gardner is holding that 8th position as he was at Adelaide. So
I don't think he will be for much longer. Barrick's there, and he's going to have to
charging, isn't he?
Lennon
down the inside. Lennon lets him go. Sees the speed. Well, Barrick still goes with a little bit of hip and shoulder, nonetheless. And Lennon decides, "Oh right, let me give me a hip and shoulder. I'll race with you." He's going to let him through then for a second.
This is nice and clean stuff, actually.
That's actually very good driver from both of them.
Yeah.
And but I could definitely see Leno's body language there. Let you through, But if you're going to give me a little nudge wide, I'm going to actually give you a little bit of hassle in return.
Which he is doing, and he's going to try and go around the outside here to get
it's
the
actually
inside line
working.
to the left.
It's very off-putting when someone does that. Very off-putting indeed.
It's not quick.
Oh, and Leonard. Oh. That's what we like to see, Garrett. Catches the car and carries on. Nothing lost.
The one thing that isn't in Gary's favour is not in a car that's got more straight line speed than Barrett, because obviously he's in an identical machine. So.
And there's Robert Isles. He's in a very lonely 11th place at the moment. There he is. Coming down towards Sunset Bend.
2.1 seconds between Talborg and VR, or 2.4 now as they go through the split. So it is closing up.
Down. But of course Talborg was ahead of NATO, so that's where he needs to be. He's 5.3 seconds behind NATO.
He's not going to do that. So obviously for race 2 they'll change their strategy back again to 2 tyres, I should think.
Because there's less risk doing it in race 1, because in race 1 if you finish lower down you start higher up. As long as you're in the top 8, of course. But Keith Barrick is now challenging, of course, Rhys Gardner, like we were saying. And let's go on board with Keith through this section here.
Yeah, look, he's going to go wider, and so he's got comes tighter when he gets to better exits. It's
a little bit wide, in fact, all the way through there.
It was. He didn't quite cut back enough, but he still made it. He's still got a better exit than Gardner, and he's now in the slipstream.
Great slipstream. It looks like
here we go.
Gardner's using more wing on this car, actually, in fact. And down the inside he goes. Couldn't got any closer. Oh, he's going to go straight on. No, he's not, in fact, actually. But the car turned him. Oh, there we go. He did go straight on. I was right.
There was no need for him to outbrake there, because he already had the overlap. He had to brake. Just had to brake at the same place as Gardner did, and Gardner wouldn't have been able to turn in. It was Barrett's corner. I don't know why he did that really.
But Nathan's only 1.5 seconds behind. Sorry, eventually it changed as fast as I said it.
Oh, in the background, Lennon.
Look
at that dust thrown up. It was less exciting than it was actually, I think, because Lennon didn't. I thought he hit the wall actually, to be honest with you.
He's lost position to Khan, though, so Khan's through. Now there's a 2-second gap now between Khan and Barry, because there was only 1 second before, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's
Vincent.
So it's all about between Barrick and Garner for the final top 8 position.
Absolutely, Garner sideways again. Can he hang on to it? He can, just about. Just needs to hang on to it for another. Well, as Van Don started his 15th lap, no, he has started his 15th. There's another 4 laps yet for Garner to hold on. That's going to be a tough task, I think. And as we say that, Barrick already alongside the Australian. Canada versus Australia, Honda versus Honda, Japan versus Japan. And it seems to me like Barrick has that position, and it's gone extremely sideways.
So in that battle of Australia versus Canada versus Japan, I think the United Nations win.
Right.
So well done.
Okay. Gonsalves is in 7th position.
Did you see the tumbleweed? I saw the tumbleweed.
Yeah, we need a tumbleweed graphic for one of these broadcasts, I think. Greyhound is actually, in fact, in ahead of Gonsalves now. Because Greyhound was in 7th, because you were talking about no one holding the candle to him. And now he's got ahead of Gonsalves, because Gonsalves, I think, has made a mistake somewhere.
I think so
Greyhound's 4 tyre pace has paid off. It seems
because Talbot was only 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Gonsalves, so yeah, it's a mistake. It's not Gonsalves dropping back.
It seems the further down the grid you go, the 4 tyre thing is working much better. But at the front of the field, it doesn't seem to be working quite as well. Talbot isn't making the progress that Brayham and Barrett have made, for example.
Well, look at Talbot. He's now only 4 seconds behind NATO.
That's very true, but he only lost 5 seconds in the pits, and he entered the pits 1 second ahead, so...
Well, yeah,
exactly the same.
That's also true, but it will get exponentially better for Talbot. It always does.
That's very true.
So
1.2 seconds is the gap now as he comes towards Le Mans.
Yeah, so I think he'll get VR.
NATO's actually challenging Lauritsen as well. 1.6 seconds is the gap between him and Lauritsen. So
yeah,
these guys,
you can see them. Look,
it's intriguing. Not quite close enough to be exciting just yet, but it is intriguing, isn't it?
Well, it's nearly there. Just another lap, and Talbot will definitely be onto the back of VR. I've no doubt that it'll get VR before the end of this race. He's been inching up to the back of him now, and we'll see as they cross the line. I think it'll be about a second, the gap. Obviously, the VM will be very good through the final sector, but I think the gap will be now about a second. But I'm going to watch this gap between NATO and Talbot. 4 seconds it is now.
As they cross, and there you go. It's 4.7 seconds. 3.7 seconds, in fact, actually.
Yeah, so 3 more tenths, and he's 1.1 behind VR. So,
but I figured out what Keith was doing on that opening lap. He's putting himself in a position where it seemed like he's in a genuine 8th position rather than going for the 8th position and getting pole.
You mean like he tried
at second race?
Like he tried at Laguna Seca?
Yes,
Does anyone remember that?
Yeah,
I don't think we've talked about it enough.
Those people who don't remember that. Keith in the title hunt last year at round 7, which was Laguna Seca last year, decided that he was going to go off at one of the corners. He was challenging, I think it was VR at the time, if I remember correctly. It might have been NATO. But made a mistake and went off and was back in 7th. Then got to the final corner and decided he wanted to be in 8th position for some reason, although 7th would have been perfectly fine, still would have been in front row. And went in the gravel instead at the final corner and finished 9th, and therefore got the worst of both worlds. And Gonçalves has gone way down the field, not sure what's happened to him. He's in fact disconnected, it seems. That's a classic disconnection.
Yep.
And it's not very nice to see. And there goes Gonçalves, unfortunately, from the game.
Which promotes Barrett up to 7th, promotes Khan into the pole position slot.
Oh, that's good news for Carly. Finally, he might get that second race good position.
I think he will.
Consistently this season he's got up to that 8th position and somehow had contact, so he'll be praying Reece Gardner remembers where his brake pedal is, I'm presuming. But
3.7 seconds is now 3.6 between NATO and Talbot. I don't think he'll get NATO.
No, because he's going to waste all his energy getting past VR, of course, as well. Which is a tough task considering the
We've been here before, haven't we? I mean, I've done this before at Brands Hatch, if you remember. It's slightly different circumstances, but it's about
you're getting them all in today, aren't you?
But it's a good example where you have better tyres, you catch up someone, then you got to overtake them. Here we go. He's at the inside.
I think he actually hit the wall there, did he?
Oh, I thought he did. Did he?
I think he did clip the wall. It slowed him down quite a lot. Whatever he did. I was going to say, into that final corner, I raced here in the pre-season race for the ATCC. In fact, I was almost as quick as Keith Berwick, which shows how slow he is, or how quick I am, whichever way you want to look at it. And it's very, very easy to get the car sideways into that final corner. In fact, it's an incredible amount of fun into that final corner. You can actually just pitch it in, get the car slightly sideways, and it just goes around the corner beautifully, especially in a front-wheel drive car, of course. And it is, because it's so bumpy, because this is obviously the new virtual LM track, which is beautiful, especially compared to the old, quite inaccurate one as well. The Tolborg is hunting.
I'm watching this and I'm thinking, he's got to do VR now. There's only 2 laps left, 1.5 now. So he's got to do him now. Is it 1.5?
1.5, yeah, one lap 16. So this lap and one more after this.
Is there 17 laps including the warm-up, the formation lap?
Yes.
Okay.
We have to have a manual formation lap, of course, in race. There is no actual formation lap. Oh, and Tolborg right in behind. Right in behind. Wouldn't be any closer. Looking back. Now we're going to look back now from Francisco Villa. Get a nice angle. We want. Looking back from the roof cam of Francisco Villa. 3rd place in last season's championship. 5th place in this season's championship. Looking to get 4th place in the championship after this race. With Keith Barrett not doing as well as he's doing. As well as Francisco's doing, of course. Looking back at the reigning champion. 3rd in the championship. And these 2 drivers, of course, fight. Oh, yes, but there's no need for that. Two wheels inside white lines. And, of course, trying very, very hard to get that slipstream down this straight.
Just shows you how quick BMW is in the straight line. Normally, by now, in 2 identical cars, you'd be right up to the bumper of the car in front of you. Oh, VR sideways. Here comes Talborg.
Talborg's getting a good line through there, very tight. See how long that corner is. It seems going for ages when you're looking back from another car, in fact. Can't see the end of the corner. It just seems to go on for a long, long time. NATO and Lauritsen are very close as well.
Yeah,
the final lap, of course, and we're not talking too much about this guy, but Stoffel Van Dorn, champion-elect, the Belgian's unstoppable, isn't he?
Is it just no one can touch him at this point, can they? 16 seconds between 1st and 2nd. It's just ridiculous. That's almost a second a lap.
It's absolutely unheard of in ATCC.
It's almost a second a lap quicker.
In fact, it's kind of unheard of in the TPS, quite frankly, this kind of domination. It is unheard of. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Florian Strauss in V8's last season, last 5 races, but that's a entirely
But even then, you know, people were within 2 or 3 tenths of him in qualifying. He didn't qualify and pole for every race, did he?
No, he didn't. In fact, he did not. So, you know, this is going to be the 8th win in a row. And especially in touring cars, which are so close. And of course, you've got the reverse grids every single time as well, whereas Florian, of course, has the benefit of being able to qualify up front each time.
And he's had a win taken away from him as well for, you know, track boundaries violation.
Yeah, and also
in the wet.
Also, he won his 2 Server 2 races as well.
Yeah.
The only race he wasn't in contention to win was, of course, one where he disconnected, and the one where he finished 4th in that KW Super Speedway race, where we saw the humongous accident.
Yeah, where he somehow escaped.
Finished 4th. I'm quite sure. Oh, NATO pushing hard, right in behind Alexander Lauritsen now. Onto the back straight they come. There's 2 Danes in top 5. One's
and Talbot
on the attack
as well.
Yep. Looks like Lauritsen should have to hold that as long as he doesn't make a mistake into the final corner. Van Dorn's about to win this race. We'll get back to the action in a second, but Van Dorn goes close to the wall, congratulates his imaginary crew, and goes across the line to win his 8th ATCC race in a row, which is just phenomenal. Stoffel Van Dorn is looking... I mean, I wouldn't take any bets for this championship right now if I was a bookie. But
look for 4th and 5th.
NATO, and it's so close to the line. VR and NATO touching as they come across the line, and VR manages to hold off. No, it's classified Torborg ahead.
How is it? Why has it done that?
I've got no idea. Clearly incorrect, but VR finished ahead of Torborg, so that can be obviously corrected. Lauritsen's left the game. He won't be in race 2 either. What's going on with these guys? Looks like Reece Gardner might get his 8th position on the grid then.
Does that mean that Lauritsen... What's he done that for?
I've got no idea. Perhaps it was a disconnection. Vincent Carnes in 8th.
But now he won't be able to rejoin, will he?
No, he can't rejoin, unfortunately. Unless he forgot he was in race and he thought it was in R Factor. But here comes Vices Ferrer, 12th position on his debut in Server 1.
Well done for him.
With that. 13th place even. Paul Wood on Friday the 13th. Well, Saturday the 14th for him, really, because he's in Australia. But Daniel Wood now across the line of 14th. 15th place is Donald Lung, with a strong result for him. 16th place is going to be Duarte Lopez, fighting from the back of that grid. 17th place is going to be to Michael Carver. 18th place to Ray Lilly. 19th place was Leo Larson, who crashed on the final lap, it seems. Dana Asbury did not finish this race. Lauritsen did finish the race. Kayado did not finish the race either. Van Scheppengen didn't finish. And we also lost another driver as well. Can't quite remember who that was. Oh, Gonsalves, of course, with a very unfortunate disconnect or desync.
Wow.
But it's going to be interesting to see what Stoffel does in this final race. Maybe someone will take him out on purpose.
Well, you see, Lauritsen. I'm very disappointed that Lauritsen's left, because him and Van Dorn next to each other, both BMWs in 7th and 8th, would have been interesting.
Absolutely.
But of course, that's not going to happen now. Francesco Villa will be in 3rd.
Well, the key thing there is VR will be in a different... Even though the results can be corrected, he'll be on a different part of the track now if the game thinks that he's coming 5th position. He'll be on, of course, 3rd on the grid rather than
the thing is, though, we'll have to... I mean, the game is very rarely wrong, is it? So
that's very strange.
They'll have to look at that very closely, won't they?
Well, we watched it first hand.
Well, yes, but... I mean, that could have been a little bit of lag for one of them or whatever. It did look very strange. There's no way that VR didn't beat Talborg across the line in terms of what we saw. But
look at the timing. Look at where he's on the grid. He's behind Talborg on the grid. In 6th position. So he finished ahead of him.
Okay, maybe it's just our timing.
Maybe it's just our plugin, which is very rarely. Our plugin's wrong, actually, in fact.
Yeah, they're usually the writer one.
The writer one.
That well made sense.
You're on form today, Toby. Can really tell you from Oxford, home of one of the premier universities in the UK and the world. Never mind.
That's totally not where I'm studying, though, is it? I'm studying in South Wales.
But you're from there.
It's currently raining and it's about 6 degrees.
Thank you for that weather update.
No problem.
From the TPS weatherman, Toby Davis.
Whereas in Sebring, look, it's an air temperature of 20 degrees. Anyway, we've only got a few seconds before the start of the race, Ryan. So, give us your thoughts. Who do you think? Do you think Van Dorn will take the title now?
Yes, Van Dorn will take the title, but I'm gonna just go out on a limb and tip Barrick for the win.
Fair enough. He's in third. I can't see past Van Dorn winning, quite frankly. We've seen what he can do off the line.
Oh, I'm hoping VR, he chooses the same line as VR, and VR Van Dorn ends up just for entertainment purposes, of course.
Of course, what this means is...
just to get things clear, I'm not wishing ill on Stoffel Van Dorn at all. He's phenomenally quick, it's just for the spectacle itself.
Yeah. A few seconds before the start, obviously Rhys Gardner does take pole position, so he'll be pleased with that, see what he can do from pole position. And Vincent Khan on your left.
Gardner, Khan, Barrick, and Braham. And Rev should be rising at least. And away from the grid they go. Rhys Gardner off to a great start. Van Dorn has spun. Oh, he's been hit by everyone. He's actually been hit by another car. Lilly into him as well. Van Dorn. He's still going though. This is phenomenal. Surely it can't be. Surely this cannot be what's going to decide the title for Stoffel Van Dorn. What's his car like? What on earth happened? He also got off to a great start. He's lost his entire rear bumper. That's incredible! The ATCC never fails to surprise. But Van Dorn now has to fight back. What's his car going to be like? He's going to have to pit as soon as he can, I think, as well. Accident there! Lung's off the track! Almost backed right into Van Dorn. Lung's off the track. Van Dorn's in 16th. You've got Wood and Lung in behind. Van Ozy ahead of Van Dorn crashing as well. Van Scheppengen's left the game. We've only got 18 drivers on track, in fact, actually. But Van Dorn back in 16th position. Donna Lung, I think, was off the track there again. Lung's off the track again and is out of the race. So Van Dorn with huge damage. How will that affect his car? Will he be able to get up to a position good enough to win this title? But Keith Barrick lead. While we're covering that, Keith Barrick leads the race. He's ahead of Rhys Gardner. Third place is Jesper Torborg. Fourth is Yuri Braham. Fifth is Francisco VR. Sixth place is Vincent Khan. I wonder if VR and Van Dorn came into contact, because VR didn't get off to a good start either. NATO is there in 8th. 7th place is Vinicius Ferreira. He'll be delighted with that. From 12th on the grid. And this big train of cars now right in behind Rhys Gardner. He's been in this position before, at Adelaide, of course. He managed to flip it there. Didn't see it on the cameras, but he did manage to flip it. And now Torborg's right in behind, going for the inside, showing his nose. Braham's running wide. He's going to let Vincent VR go through. Contact between Braham and VR. They do it every single event, it seems. And VR's through, and Braham's lost 2 positions. Vincent Khan through up to 5th also as well. NATO is back there in 7th, just ahead of Vinicius Ferreira. Ferreira back down to 8th. Rhys Gardner is in 2nd position. Keith Barrick leads by 0.9 of a second ahead of Gardner and his teammate Jesper Torborg.
Ah, what a first lap. And Van Dorn, I don't know what happened to him exactly. It looked like he just simply dropped it off the line and got collected by another car. VR actually made quite a good start, was up to about 3rd position, maybe 4th position off the line, but I think he got balked through the first section of corners, so he's dropped back a little bit. He's behind Talborg now. Gardner did a good job to stay ahead of Talborg, and it's anyone's game. The 3 Hondas at the front, but Van Dorn, we'll watch him come through the field, but he's definitely got to be hampered with that damage, as Talborg had a look at Gardner.
That damage looks quite severe as well, and Torborg on the inside, through he goes. It's FDR Condon 1-2 right now, and Torborg's going to be tracking Barrick, and Barrick's going to be worried, I think.
So he should be. He's got Talborg, is a very capable teammate, and but now the championship's right open, you know. VR is still now fighting. He's gone through on Gardner. Braham's there, but NATO down in 7th. He was. Oh, and who's that wide? Braham's wide into the wall.
Braham off, and back down to 8th. So he was having a good run and made that mistake, and unfortunately he's back down to 8th position. And there's NATO and Khan very close together indeed.
So now I'm trying to work out the championship in my head. NATO was in second prior to the first race. He finished in third position behind Lauritsen, didn't he? So
He did indeed.
NATO's still in position A1 actually for the championship. If Van Dorn doesn't get into
he's not making starting progress, Van Dorn.
No.
He's not, he would have thought with his speed he would have dispatched down a bit quicker than taking well over half a lap. And here is Van Dorn. He can actually still see the leader on the straight, but of course the straight is so long.
Well,
and that car is extremely damaged.
I'm going to watch his pace. And now that we've got
that car.
I know it's huge damage. It's collected by 3 or 4 cars and also into
front
the wall.
Of the car as well, of course. Look.
Yeah, so we'll watch the gap. 9.4 seconds to the leader. That'll give us a good indication of his pace now that they're on flying laps. As Barrett crosses the line, does a 2-minute 11.6. Remember, Van Dorn in race 1 did a 10.5. So
decent speed for a Honda, though, of course.
Well, yes, of course. But Van Dorn now 9.7. So it's like he's dropping pace. I know it was in the battle, but he's got second to Gary Lennon and Lopez. Lennon just lost out to Lopez actually in the background. But NATO's got by Gardner as well. He moves up into 5th place. So NATO, if he can get into 4th, maybe 3rd, VR might let him through into 3rd. He's definitely in with a shout in the championship here. It's back open again.
It's all to play for. It just depends where Van Dorn can get to, of course. Van Dorn can get to the top 8. I think he will still win the title. In fact, I'm actually going to do the first race results now on the server, just to so we've got it on the server and we can actually have a look at that.
Go for it. I'll follow the action.
To continue the action here.
Yeah.
Follow the action here, and then I'll keep leading you in, of course, Toby. But here we are.
That's all right. No problem. It's NATO in 5th place in behind Khan with Gardner right behind him. Gardner actually still doing a good job to stay right on NATO's tail, considering NATO obviously so far this season has been perhaps the quicker of the 2 drivers, you'd have to say, based on previous form. But NATO in there in 5th position. He's looking strong for the title. Further up front, we've got VR, who has got a slight gap to the FDR Candems in front of him, Talborg and Barrick 1.2 seconds ahead of Talborg. So Jesper pegging him at in the early stages of this race, and Khan now being followed very closely by NATO. And you'd have to say that NATO looks like he wants to get by Khan as soon as he can and have a go at his fellow championship rivals. And here comes NATO. You can see the slightly stronger speed that, thanks to slipstream, is in behind. Equally strong in the straight line, Vincent Khan in his Volvo, but NATO in the cruise, able to cruise up to the back of Vincent Khan, and Gardner's still there. Talborg sets the fastest lap, but it's nowhere near what Van Dorn was able to achieve in race 1.
Francisco now eclipses that.
So VR.
Look at the gap. Look at the gap. Keith's had a poor lap. Look at that.
Yeah, 12.4. That's a pretty slow lap time actually. You'd have to say from Barrick.
That is an average lap, no doubt about that.
So Talborg doing a good job. He's 0.3 seconds, so just 3 tenths behind his teammate, and he's going to be in the slipstream actually here as they head towards the hairpin. It's the old hairpin, and it's now a chicane. And here comes Talborg. Look at the slipstream. He's cruising up to the back of Barrick as they head into the braking zone. Talborg gets a little bit better run. He's inside Barrick. No, Barrick closes the door. Talborg not quite enough of an overlap. He's going to have another go as they head through the rest of the lap.
And Barrick leading still, holding off his FDR cannon. Oh, he's letting him through. He's letting him through. He's letting Talborg go through. Perhaps that's a championship in mind. Perhaps he realises he's got much better speed and VR is closing quickly. So there we go. It's a tactical move there from Barrick and Talborg. Sensible stuff.
And look how close they are, right in behind each other. And Talborg still is not out of the woods yet. Barrick may have led him through, but if Talborg shows that he isn't quite as fast as Barrick, because Barrick could easily have led him through based on pace as well, remember. If Barrick turns out to be the quicker of the 2, and it was that previous lap, because you can see that Talborg did an 11.5, 12.4. That could be crucial. Also, NATO and Gardner just got by NATO further back. NATO just got back by him, but those two actually. So Gardner's hanging on in there, and Van Dorn is dropping back from the leaders, but he's made it up to 9th position, Ryan.
Yeah, it's all about the positions, isn't it, rather than the actual time, because we know he's not going to be able to challenge for a win. But if he can get into the top 8, I'm pretty sure that will give him the title.
Have you done the results yet?
I'm still working on it.
Okay, no problem.
The computer decided to be slow.
I'll carry on doing the cameras and following the action. So we'll just head further back whilst. Oh no, actually we'll stick with this one. So Gardner and Nato in very close together. So Nato obviously did get back by Gardner. He's now trying to hold on to that position. It's very crucial for Nato that he gets as far up as he can. There's a long race. There's still 12 laps left in this race, but it's still very important for Nato to get as far forward as he can. And Gardner's showing very strong pace in race 2, actually, having been on pole position. Makes you wonder what he could have done in race 1 had he had a better qualifying session. He was mired down in the midfield.
He always mentions that when he's with faster people, he seems to go a lot faster.
I actually find that myself. It's important to be in with people who are faster. You can gap them and you can judge where their braking points are and look at where all their lines are. And you can pick up a few tips. Even in the race, you'd be surprised. Here comes VR, and VR's got through past Barrick, look. So while we were following that battle, VR moves up into second position, and that's actually quite critical as well. Because Barrick was really there for Talborg, and
now
was there
VR
for
is going to challenge for that win with Talborg. I'm pretty sure about that, because VR, of course, has the faster car itself.
Yeah, well, the BMW definitely quicker, not just in the straight line, but on overall lap pace, you'd have to say, around Sebring.
Stoffel Van Dorn is some 2.3 seconds adrift of Vinicius Ferreira. That's the next target for Stoffel Van Dorn, but he's making steady progress, isn't he?
He's there, isn't he? I mean, I'm amazed he can drive that thing even in a straight line.
The gap is 20 points. The gap is 20 points.
In the championship?
In the championship between Van Dorn and Nato. I'll just quickly get up how many points there are for each. There's a gap between 20 points, 32 points between Van Dorn and Talborg, so I don't think that's going to be good enough.
Well,
but Van Dorn and Nato is close.
Okay, well, bring up what are the points for win and where does Van Dorn need to finish?
The points for a 9th position is 32. So he's in prime position. You can only get 51 points is the maximum Nato can get from this race. So if he stays in P9, he's won the title regardless. Even
if Nato wins, Van Dorn in P9 wins the title.
Yeah. So it's still a very long shot for anybody to win the title.
Van Dorn will really need to DNF, wouldn't he?
This will stop the run of wins for Van Dorn.
But then the thing is, being in the midfield, it's still not over, because you can still have a problem. You can still have a battle with someone, as you can see what's happening to Khan. Nato's got through by Khan up into 4th.
The important thing here, though, is that Nato's still in 4th position, which, it doesn't yield enough points, quite frankly. It's only 42 points for that 4th position. There's only 10 points between 4th and 9th. So he needs to be a lot further up than that. He needs a favour from VR. He needs VR to get in and start hassling those guys at the front, to give him a chance of taking this title. Which
VR is doing, actually, to be fair to him.
And
look at this,
Barrick guys are very close indeed.
Barrick and VR, look.
They're very, very close, and it looks like VR's been challenging Talborg, and of course then Barrick's been having a go at VR back.
Which is obviously, that's been holding them up just a little bit, isn't it? I'll come off this, just go back onto non-able to change the cameras, because I nearly pressed the button then. Yeah, so...
Oh, VR! So close there, almost nailed the back of Jesper Talborg, but just about avoided the contact. That's what...
Did he ever go into the tower, did he, up the inside? Yeah,
I don't think he was actually trying to have a go. He just kind of ended up having a go. You know how it is.
Yeah, well, it's always the way, isn't it? You try and get as close as you can, and sometimes you end up outbraking yourself trying to make that gap, and actually it turns out to be a quicker line. You find that you can break just that half a yard later. And look at this now, Via, in the quicker car in a straight line. You'd have to say he's in a very good position here indeed. He's actually not as close as he would have liked.
Quite a lot by that camera.
Yeah, I thought he was much closer than that.
Yeah, it's almost like real TV. And
oh, look at this!
Oh, very, very quick into that. Another tap, and Torbo's sideways, and VR's through. Not quite sure about the legality of that, Mr. Francisco.
Me neither.
Sure all he wants to do is try and hold them up and let Nato get through, quite frankly.
You see, now what's happened?
Well.
Now what's happened is Barrick will stay ahead of Talborg here, because if VR now has to let through Talborg, which if I was VR I'd be doing, he's got to let through Barrick through as well now. Yep. And so Barrick will stay in front of Talborg for half a lap, I would think. Well, that's what I'd be doing anyway. Obviously I'm not Keith, but you'd be playing that game for a bit whilst VR decides whether that was fair or not.
I can actually see in the car kind of the thoughts going through his head. Do I? Don't I? Do I? Don't I?
Yeah, and it's now going to distract him a little bit, and they'll end up catching him back up, I'm sure. But Barrick,
he has actually final warning for this series as well, so he will actually be on probation for further Touring Pro Series leagues, and that includes the Virtual V8 Supercars, which he has signed up for. So it might be quite productive to give that position back.
But the thing is now, he's got to think. What's the point? I mean, he's now there to hold them up and help NATO out, isn't he? I mean, he can just sit there and do lap times half a second slower than what the Hunters will be able to do.
Up to 7th. So that's plenty for Van Dorn. He can drop another 2 positions and still be guaranteed the title.
How has he got through to 7th?
Not quite sure who's dropped down. I think Reece Garner's in the pits.
Ah, that'll be it.
Perhaps. That's a very early pit stop, if so. But it looks like a pit stop, and Gary Lennon looks like a pit stop also. We've actually got 70. Robert Isles is going out the pits as well.
Perfect. Pit exit, by the way, from Robert Isles.
Mr. Barrick. Mr. Barrick will be in trouble with me after the race. I'll have a word with him in his ear. But Barrick and Torbo are very close now. I think Barrick's going to have to let Torbo back through once again, or maybe they're going to wait until the pit stops.
I wonder if they pit now. I wonder if they're going to do the 4-tyre thing, because if you pit now, you get an undercut, definitely.
Well, it didn't really work, did it?
It nearly did. I don't think they pitted early enough for it to work.
Well, Torbo pitted now. Last time around. Oh, look at the sideways movement. Torbo pitted now last time around, so last race. He's in the pits this time around again as well, so it's the same time. At the end of 7th lap for Torbo.
I hope he got that slowed down.
9th lap last time. It should work better for Barrick, it seemed.
I hope Torbo got that slowed down. That looked very marginal to me. We'll see.
Torbo is into the pits. Van Dorn is still not pitting, so his car can't be that bad, Van Dorn's, because normally when your car is damaged, you get in the pits as soon as possible to get some fresh tyres on, because your tyres wear out much quicker while you're spinning around and haven't got that damage on the car.
Either that, or he's just been pegged back to normal pace now. Rather than right 1 second a lap quicker than everyone else.
I think we've struck on the key for season 5, Toby. Just remove software Van Dorn's bumper and his front suspension. Bend it a wee bit.
Or just everyone else pick a BMW and work out how to drive them like Stoffel's been able to do. I have to say the BMW.
It was still a second faster than VR and Lauritsen.
I know, but I have to say the BMW this season has looked like it's been the strongest car in general over the whole season.
I'd have to say that many of the drivers where the tracks have been have not maximised the front-wheel drive tracks.
Yeah. I'd agree with that, but on paper, the BMWs have taken almost all the race wins, haven't they?
Which we do expect, because rear-wheel drive is better than front-wheel drive. There's no bones about it. Can't argue with that logic, really.
No, but it does help the BMW that not only is it better on its tyres technically, it's also the quickest car in a straight line, and it's got the best starts from a standing start.
Of course, drivers can't moan because they're all entitled to pick whatever car they want to pick.
No, of course not. Then I'm not saying that anyone's moaning. I'm just saying that's the best. To me, that's been the best car this season.
It's not like you can say that people can't drive rear-wheel drive cars. The ones that drive the front-wheel drive. Keith likes driving front-wheel drive cars, but he drives. It's driven for the STC, which are all rear-wheel drive cars, and of course Torborg won done 2 titles in rear-wheel drive cars in the BMW Z4 for ATCC. And of course, last season the World Ring Masters in the Holden Commodore, which is possibly the hardest rear-wheel drive car to drive around, apart from the V8 supercars.
I think if you want to consider yourself a really quick, quality driver, you have to be able to drive pretty much any car.
Thank you for that, Toby.
Fast. No, I'm the same. I can't drive front-wheel drive cars to save my life.
Well, you're as quick as me at Calder, so.
Well, yeah, that's just one big straight. Anyone could do that.
Well, I couldn't. But Keith Barrick is in the lead once again. He's gone for the same strategy, it seems. Keith. I think the pits. He's into the pits, so obviously his pit stall is a bit further down than Mr. VR's. It was not pitting. Everyone seems to be pitting this time around. Nobody seems to be staying out.
So. I wonder if Van Dorn's managed to uncheck pit damage repair. Does it come on automatically?
No, it just comes automatically.
Okay.
Never a problem. Always have to manually select that.
I'm sorry, by the way, if I sound like a bit of an idiot when I'm saying things like this, but I don't actually own the game. I'm so much more used to R Factor and its ways. So things like this, I can't learn it all off paper.
We've got Neil Larson, the retro 1980s Nigel Mansell, Nelson Piquet Williams Formula 1 skin.
That's the 1993 one, actually. I think you'll find it's got Sega sponsorship on the rear quarter.
Oh, it has indeed.
So, there you go. That's the...
Were they Rothmans at that time?
94.
94 Rothmans, okay. 93 then. I don't like him then because he's got Sega on the side. It means he's Alan Prost.
Indeed, Alan Prost, Damon Hill.
No, I don't agree with that. Don't like Prost. VR's got a good jump out of the pits. Barrick has done his 4 tyre thing again. 5 tyre. Said it again, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
4 tyre thing again. Van
There's
Dorn's
not one in the boot.
Position because everyone else has gone 4 tyres. Keith is now tracking him.
What?
Interesting to see.
How is Van Dorn up? Sorry. How is Van Dorn up to 4th again? Remind me.
Because people have done 4 tyre stops.
You think everyone else has done 4 tyre?
Yes. Vince Khan did in race 1 as well. I think Reece Garner's done it this time around. And Yuri Braham definitely did it in the first race, and it's this time around also.
Well, this will now be very interesting then.
So we've got a 4-tyred, fresh-tyred Honda Accord, completely damageless, Season 1 champion, against, surely, Season 4 champion, Stoffel Van Dorn, with a very bent and damaged 2-tyre BMW.
He'll jump out the way if he's got any sense.
It looks like to me that he's not fighting particularly hard, is he? He's trying to keep on his line.
As I say, if he's got any sense, he'll just let Barrett go, and there's no point even trying to fight him. He's got a damaged car, and he doesn't need to put himself in a position where he could get taken out.
Absolutely, and of course, fast drivers don't just need speed, do they? Totally, they need brains
and racing awareness and the ability to race is a very different ability to lap quick. It's very different.
Of course, in these sim races where you don't have these, your big team managers telling you the setup and telling you when you should pit and what you should do and all that sort of thing, you actually have to figure it all out for yourself on the fly as you're going along. So,
and some people can't do it, and that's where you do need, someone.
That's where the little mistakes come in, of course.
Yeah, of course, but that's where you do need a team or a team manager. It's very difficult to be an independent driver if you're missing something, I think. Be it set the fastest after the race there, just while we were talking, 11.1, which is actually pretty quick. Only that's not bad.
6 tenths off Van Dorn's race 1 time.
And that was a special lap as well from Van Dorn, because the rest of his laps were in the high 10s. So, so it's pretty good lap time indeed from him.
It took half a second out of VR in that final sector. Final sector where the BMW is at its quickest. But of course, the other thing about the BMW being quick here, of course, is these corners here, for example. At that corner there, and the shoot out into the straight, it's going to get a much better exit every single time, of course. Now we've got Van Dorn and Khan. So we've got Season 1 champion. We actually got all the champions. Well, of course, Van Dorn is not champion yet, but technically, pretty much he is. We've actually got Season 3 champion, Season 1 champion, Season 4 champion elect, and Season 2 champion all in a row on the track. Which is another bit of nice poetry.
And then Reece Gardner in 7th.
And Reece Gardner in 7th, yes. He was taking 2 poles, in fact, in his TPS career, and they both at the same track, Watkins Glen.
2 actual genuine poles rather than reverse grid poles, of course.
Yeah. Actual poles.
Which to me don't count.
No, they don't count as pole positions at all. Indeed, we do not count them.
So now it's all quietened down a little bit, hasn't it? We're going to watch Talbot's gap to the leader, because 6.8 seconds now.
Let's show this battle here then,
let's do it. So Ferreira versus Lennon.
Oh, Lennon again! We saw him do that earlier in the race. Oh, Ferreira! How he didn't clean him up there, I'm not quite sure. That's great driving from Ferreira. Really was.
Lennon's a wise head. He's going to be in behind Ferreira now in the slipstream, and going to try and have a go. It's just wise.
Oh,
look at that, 10.8. Wow.
What's he taking?
So 5.8
faster.
5.8 it was. Now it's 6.3.
No, it wasn't 5.8.
It was 6.8.
It was 7.5 at the end of the last lap. So they gained 1.2 seconds on one lap. So, but Ferreira has got ahead of Lennon, and Lopez has got ahead of Lennon also. So Lennon's going backwards once again. He seems to be able to go forward in the races like he usually does it today.
So other people taking quite a lot of liberties with that pit end.
They are indeed.
I would say that it is just 2 wheels they are allowed over those sort of invisible bollards that aren't invisible. You know what I mean? You can drive through them.
Non-collidable.
Non-collidable. That's a very good word.
Alright, I'm here to help you out with the wordage.
It's all about Ryan Dictionary, Calvin.
And wouldn't be able to tell I'm Northern, would you? In fact, you're Southern, you should be able to speak Queen's English. But Daniel Wood is in 9th position. I think this is his strongest showing of the season so far right now from Daniel.
Well, of course it is. His first time in Server 1, so...
Second time in Server 1.
It's second time in Server 1, so, pretty much any position is going to be his best showing. There are lots of...
Tobol's getting another second towards Sector 2, look. 5.8 is the gap now. Oh no, it's getting half second, sorry.
Half second, yeah, 6.3, wasn't it?
But yeah,
it's closing in big time styly over Miguel Nato.
Time styly.
So what's the gap as they get over the finish line now? So it was 5.8 and the gap to Nato was, what is that, 1.9, isn't it?
Now, Van Dorn is able to stay ahead of Khan. Khan doesn't seem to be able to make much progress. He's slowly but surely pulling him in, but Van Dorn's still holding on to the back of Barrick also.
The thing is, since Van Dorn's incident, he's been about 10 seconds off the lead the whole time. It's just he's happened to overtake some people who've dropped back. So his pace is very similar to the leaders, actually.
You can afford to give up. Well, you can afford to give up 5 positions at the moment, the way the standings are.
I think they will let Nato through if he has to.
Yeah, if Van Dorn dropped back through, I'm sure that's in the planning for those guys. Graham is right behind Reece Gardner now for that 8th position. Gardner seems to be just kind of occupying that position constantly, fighting that 8th position all the way through this final half of the season.
He's just nicely mid-pack, isn't he? The top 8 actually are miles away from 9th position Daniel Wood, so Van Dorn...
seconds, that's incredible.
I mean, Van Dorn could make a huge error and then he'd be back in 8th position again, so... Something happened in the middle of the pack or something that we haven't been aware of.
I'm not quite sure, because that is a huge gap, isn't it?
Who was Van Dorn battling with? He was battling with Ferreira, wasn't he? Ferreira...
A long time ago.
Well, yeah, of course, before the pit stops, but... Huh.
We're on to lap 12, of course, now 5 laps to go. And we might be able to actually just bring up... Oh no, I better not do that, because it won't look very professional. I'll get told off by Keith. I'm going to bring up the standings for everyone to look at. But... we'll just leave it for now. Just tell you that I'll tell you what the standings are. Just imagine it in your heads. It is Van Dorn on 587, Nato on 567. So that's a 20-point gap. Torborg another 12 points back on 555. Via on 551, and Keith Barrick on 550. So
this is not including finishing positions from this race.
Indeed. And
so that's
Barrick and Torborg and VR in very, very close.
Here comes Braham, by the way, on Reece Gardner. He's gone right round the outside through the double left-hander.
Oh,
over the curbs!
Sideways. Oh, it's actually helped him because he managed to block off Reece Gardner getting through the corner. It worked. It wasn't pretty.
It did work.
But it worked. And now we've got...
further up front.
Looks like NATO and Torborg are now close together. Do like that shot, actually, because it allows me to see anything that's going on that we can't quite see normally.
Exactly. Well, I tend to be looking at the overlay. Oh, NATO sideways! Here comes Talborg. He's got an overlap, but he's going to be on the outside through turn 1.
I think NATO, in fact, is ahead, perhaps. It's looking very close. We can't quite see. Wish the camera would change. Did not change all the way down to the first corner for some reason. And Torborg is actually ahead of NATO. Torborg right around the outside. And it does him.
What a
Beautiful.
move! I don't think NATO must have just only taken 2 tyres then, because the way Talbot gained.
Yes. Yeah, because Talbot was obviously lost lots of time, and he was.
By the way, 6.3. Last time I looked, it was 6.3. It's now 4.5.
Yep, it was 6.3 2 laps ago. So it's 1.8 in 2 laps. Of course, part of that has been passing NATO, so we'll see what he can produce now. But Talbot's on fire, as he often has been, in fact, in the second races of these events this season.
If you call it a second a lap, which I think it probably is. Oh, and he's locked up, he's running a little bit wide. NATO inside him!
Oh, NATO aggressive, trying to get through, and Torborg had none of that. Held his ground. That was close stuff.
And that's held up Talbot a little bit, if he's lost a little bit of time to Via. If you call it a second a lap, there's 4 laps left, isn't there? Correct me if I'm wrong.
4.5 laps left.
Yeah, so he's got... I think he can catch Via. Whether he can overtake him is a completely different story, of course, but I do think he's in with a shout here, Talborg, of taking the race win.
But Talborg is 4 points ahead of VR in the championship. If he stays where he is, he will stay ahead of VR in the championship. He will finish 3rd in the championship, Talborg, at the moment. as things stand, because he's got fastest lap points also.
I quite like the idea of VR getting some luck and taking the race win, to be honest.
I think I made a slight error actually. In fact, with the passing of the results, I think actually Van Dorn has another 2 points, which has a 22-point gap.
What makes you say that? Oh, because
I think I passed the race 2 point system rather than the race 1 point system.
So you missed out on pole.
On the pole position, is that in fact?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it's looking academic at the moment because Van Dorn is in 5th position, and that's plenty for him to win his ATCC title. And his inaugural TBS title, and his inaugural contestant season. Help me out here, Toby.
It's the first time he's been in the ATCC.
It's the first time he's been in the TPS. I was trying to say.
Oh, okay. It's the first time he's been in the TPS.
You use the word inaugural somewhere.
It's the inaugural time. I don't know.
Inaugural time.
By the way, there's quite a good battle going on between Ferreira and Wood, and there's also another good battle between Wood's brother, Paul Wood.
You're lying about Ferreira and Wood. It's actually Wood and Lopez.
Sorry, Lopez and Wood. I was looking at the times and somehow misread. Here comes Lopez.
Oh, that's a dangerous move! Yeah, and exactly that. Contact. And Lopez is through. Thank you very much.
That was slightly
Wood
less
did a few
than
scrape
fair.
actually in those fast corners. I mean, plenty of close action. He chopped off Ferreira, I think, if I remember, in the first race.
Well, he's still there, isn't he, Wood? So he might be able to have another go at Lopez.
He's dropped to 11th though, so he's lost
Yeah.
positions to Ferreira and Lopez. I think Ferreira took 4 tyres as well. But,
Yeah, so do
hasn't
I.
helped him. Some 18 seconds off 8th position, which is Reece Gardner. 7th place is Graham. Khan and Van Dorn are very close. Khan looking to try and get past Goffel. Tolbox is 3.8 seconds behind VR now, so he's been able to pull the gap down by quite a bit. Over 1 second he's gained.
Do we only have 16 runners?
We have 17 because Robert
Isles
is one of the ones who was back in the field also.
Towell's taking quite a lot of liberties with the track boundaries here. I have to say, he needs to watch himself. He was a little bit over those curbs then as well.
That's a great shot. Barry came onto the...
yeah, no, it was right on the limit, wasn't he?
Yeah, lovely to watch. Van Dorn and Khan now. Khan can't quite seem to get past Van Dorn. And Khan is not a slouch.
He looks like he's got a lot more pace in a straight line though, doesn't it, than the hampered Van Dorn.
Well, I'm not quite sure that BMW is particularly aerodynamic right now.
Exactly. So Khan, well, you'd expect Khan to have got him by now, wouldn't you?
I would have thought so. He's been behind him for some 5-6 laps. But it looks like as the race is going on, he's actually going to make his move before the end of the race. He's got 3 laps to go now. On to lap 15. VR still leads from Tolbog by 2.8 seconds only. So Tolbog just took another second out of him.
It is a second a lap. And VR's pace has dropped off as well.
He took a second out of him in 1 sector though, Toby. 1 second in 1 sector.
Oh, 1 sector? Oh, well,
yeah.
VR's done a 2:12.6 the last lap. So first sector's just coming up now.
At least an 11.3. What's he got here? What is
well,
the
2.8.
The sector times after this hairpin here. Look at Tolbog backing the car in. That was beautiful. 2.3, so another half a second.
It's
going to be a dig back.
As I say, the tyre wear it's exponential. You know, once your tyres start going, they go a lot quicker, and your pace drops off a lot faster.
You start making mistakes, and your tyres get hotter, and you get less grip, and you make mistakes.
It's a vicious circle.
It's a very vicious circle.
So this is really in Talbot's favour. As I say, he's not got time. Is the only thing that's against him at the moment. If there was one more lap on the clock, I'd say this is Talbot's race, but VR still looks like he might just have enough.
I think he gaps well under 2 seconds right now. It looks like to me just from it's 2.2, so I'm lying.
2.2.
It's been in fact been this sector where he's been much quicker than VR. Surprisingly enough, because it's basically 2 long straights and this little bit here, which the cars are very similar with.
Talbot was very nice and neat and tidy through there. VR visibly got bigger on that picture.
So it's always nice when you can see prey, isn't it, as well?
But yeah.
This is one of the tracks where you can see prey every single time on this track. On this
all the way down the straights. If you can see them getting bigger in your screen, then you know you're doing something right. And you don't, there's no need for any telemetry in situations like this. You're just looking at the car in front of you and closing in. You don't need to know that they're
using all the track
they
there.
don't need to know that they're just 2 seconds ahead of you.
1.9 is the gap now. A little bit of a slower lap there from Torborg, in fact. Only gained, we gained 0.9 of a second, which is plenty, I guess.
Yeah,
that's not too critical, right?
Second a lap. And of course,
Can's got past Van Dorn. Oh no, Can's not got past Van Dorn. Van Dorn's holding the inside, and Van Dorn's swirling about on the exit, and Can lets him go through. Of course, Can would be very sensible as well. He's not going to make a silly move.
No, he doesn't
and take him out. He knows what it feels like to win a title and be a championship contender, so...
Yeah, you don't want to get... In situations like this, Can will absolutely 100% know exactly what Van Dorn needs to do to win the title. And he just won't want to get involved. You don't want to. It's not your battle, and you don't want to be that guy that took out the championship and just made it into a farce. You just don't want to be that guy.
No one wants to be that guy, though.
No.
And Torborg is still 1.9 seconds after that first sector, so it was a little bit scruffy, that first sector for him, because usually he gains through there.
I wonder if he's eating up his tyres. I'm saying that. Come on, Torborg.
Not going to get him now.
You don't think?
No.
It only takes one mistake from Via like that.
Well, no, I don't think it's going to happen. And instead of gaining, you've just lost, which means it's a double penalty. Almost like a 6-pointer in a relegation battle.
2.3
in football.
2.3 this will be. 2.2.
Gap is exactly the same. He's spent a whole lap doing nothing, and there's only one lap to go. He has to go 2.2 seconds faster over the next one and the third laps. You can't see that happening, quite frankly.
Of course, then he's got to get by him. So, I'm in agreement actually. Vincent Can still 4/10 behind Van Dorn. Lopez and Ferreira are still.
Think we might see it here. I think Van Can's going to go for it this time.
Be interesting to see what the gap is if you go on board.
Yep, there we go.
In my mind.
And Can's gaining. He's going to make a move this time, I think.
I think this is what happened last lap, though. I think Van Dorn just swept around the outside and got the inside for turn 1. I don't think it's happened this time, is it?
And Can straight through, it seemed like to me. Van Dorn not fighting too hard about it. Oh, he's still... he's fighting hard about it. Decided to give the back of Vincent Can a little bit of a nudge. Shows him what he thinks of Canadians. And down towards... I don't mean that Stoffel doesn't like Canadians, I'm just being silly. And down towards the first corner they come. Yuri Braham's right here as well. He might actually get Stoffel on this final lap. And knowing
it's
Yuri,
all kind of irrelevant, because NATO's
Yuri might take him out. Yuri wouldn't do that, would you, Yuri?
No, you can hear him saying no.
Yeah, you can hear him. We've got special bond with Yuri, you see. We can speak to each other through gamma rays.
Sorry,
here comes Braham now on the inside.
A Windows message just made me jump. Sorry.
Okay.
Here we go.
On the outside now is Braham. Van Dorn is battling a little bit. I think he knows that the gap back to 9th position is huge. But I don't know if he knows exactly how many points he needs, of course, because he hasn't processed the results. Maybe
that's true.
Maybe he does that as well while he's racing. He's so good at racing, he can actually process the results in his head.
Well, he'll have a rough idea that he needs to be... He probably thinks 5th or something is safe, doesn't he? Probably.
Maybe that's why he's fighting hard for it.
It does look like he's fighting very hard with Braham, doesn't it? Here comes Braham at the inside.
This is good stuff. Very good stuff indeed. Very close, very hard, and very fair. Oh, Braham is out of control there on the curb, and Van Dorn's coming back at him around the outside. Oh, it never works around here, though. Will he have enough of an overlap this time around?
By the way, Taro's just 1.1 behind VR.
No, that's not going to happen. Could have passed him as well as catch him, and Braham doesn't pass Van Dorn. Van Dorn fights for all his worth. And now will Can be able to get another run onto the final straight, trying very, very hard. But Torborg and VR coming towards the line. VR is going to win his first race of the season since Road America, I believe. And he crosses the line. Great win for him. Really took advantage of any troubles that happened to people around him. And Torborg finishes in 2nd position. 3rd place, Miguel Nato. 4th place, Keith Barrick. 5th place is going to be Vincent Can. Who's going to be 6th? Is it going to be the champion Van Dorn? It is! And Stoffel Van Dorn is the American Touring Car Championship Season 4 champion. Congratulations to him. A superb performance throughout the season, which included 8 wins, and he took 9 wins, in fact, throughout the season, 8 wins overall, and it's been an absolutely stellar season from him, hasn't it, Toby?
Absolutely. You'd have to say, once he'd come into Server 1 after round 2, he absolutely has been the class of the field, and no one's been able to, as I say, hold a candle to him. He's been absolutely dominant. And
it's just got faster and faster and faster. The gap between the drivers has got more and more and more. He was close at Laguna Seca. I mean, he got beaten by Lauritsen on track at Laguna Seca, and it was very close. But then we went to Vitus and Adelaide. He just smoked the field again.
If you look, the first time that I properly looked into Van Dorn and thought this guy's good, is Nürburgring race 2, where he went from 8th position on the grid. I mean, race 1, he won race 1, fair enough. Race 2, he went from 8th on the grid and was in 1st position by turn 1. Yeah. And then I thought, right, okay, this guy's got this guy could drive. He's got it all. He's got it all. He's able to do the starts and everything.
And of course, he might be in Formula 1 later in his career. He won the Formula 4 Euro Cup in his first season, and he finished 5th in the championship last season in the Euro Formula Renault 2.0, and this season he's with the championship winning team of last season, so he's one of the favourites for the title, if not the favourite. And of course we wish him luck in that also as well. And we're joined by race 2 winner Mr. Francisco Villa. Hello, Francisco.
Hello, Toby. Hello, Ryan.
And well done for that race 2 win. Just describe to us how that went.
The second race, the first race. I had a good start and I was able to slot in behind Stoffel. Then Stoffel was just I don't know the word. It's just unreachable. It was impossible to really. It was just impossible to keep up with him. So I was trying to keep second place, but I don't know. I was just losing focus every single corner, and then I made a single mistake, and sorry.
It's okay.
And then three cars went by. In the second race, I had a very very good start. I went up all the way to first, and then Rhys Gardner just tapped the back of my car and I spun, but I was still able to keep my car in the leading pack. I was 5th at the time. The thing is, I had a suspension problem. I think Thalberg had suspension problem as well because we were running really really slow on the straights, and Barrick was somehow a little bit slower than us, so it was just we were losing a bit of time behind him. Then I made an overtaking move on Thalberg.
We saw that. It was a bit dubious from our point of view.
Exactly. I don't know what was happening, but the cars were appearing and disappearing a bit. I saw that with Rhys Gardner and Duty as well. And suddenly his car just appeared in my front, and I know I touched him slightly, and I think he had suspension problems, so his rear just went out and he lost it.
Well, you finished 4th in the championship overall. Obviously, when you started the season, that's not exactly what you wanted from the season, but you've had lots of bad luck throughout the season. Just try and sum up the season for us. I mean, we've done it all before, of course, covered your bad luck. I mean, are you pleased with your own performance rather than the results, or you think you could perform a lot better yourself also?
I think in terms of performance, I am pleased because I didn't make any major mistake on track. I think probably this first race in Sebring was the one that I made the biggest mistake, which was losing 2 or 3 positions. So it's not that big of a deal. So overall, I'm pleased. I think the only guy I would not beat, even if I had the perfect season, would be Stoffel Van Dorn. So I'm not pleased with being 4th, obviously because of my bad luck, but I'm pleased with the overall performance.
Okay, thank you, Francisco, and thank you for racing for us this season. And it's been a pleasure to watch you in that Portuguese BMW. And we wish you luck, of course, in the V8 Supercars and if in season 5 of ATCC should you return.
Thank you very much to all the organization, and congratulations to Stoffel Van Dorn and to my to my teammate Miguel Neto, because we won the team championship, so it's still a good achievement. And I don't know. Let's see next season how it goes. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, Francisco. And speaking of congratulations, Stoffel van Dorn, ATCC Season 4 champion. How does that feel?
A bit strange after the second race, what happened in Sebring, but I'm really happy I could win the championship. I thought after the start in race 2, the championship was over, but I just continued, and I could bring it home in 6th, I think. So I'm really happy with the result, and I'm pleased to be champion. So.
I mean, you've had a phenomenal season. I mean, it started off, badly for you. I mean, you were slightly disappointed with your 3rd place qualifying at Road America. Then it got even worse, of course, because you disconnected. Then had to start, of course, the second round in Server 2. Got into Server 1 by the skin of your teeth in terms of points. I mean, after the disconnection from Road America, did you even think that the championship was possible?
No, I really didn't expect it would be possible to win it. I knew there was maybe like a very, very little chance, but everything had to be really perfect. I had to win almost every race, and
you did.
Yeah, I almost did it. So after my comeback in Server 1, I think I did a quite good job, and then almost everything was perfect.
I mean, how do you drive like that? We can't really describe, and you can't give away your secret either. But I mean, how do you focus on such events? Because of course they're not an ideal time of the day for you. I know you're young and it's easy to stay up in the middle of the night a bit better when you're younger. But I mean, it's 5:20 a.m. for you right now. How do you manage to keep concentration so late into the night?
Well, I go to sleep and then I wake up in the middle of the night, because if I stay awake, then I think I fall asleep during the race.
Oh, so that's the key there. So,
yeah.
So I can only sum up. I can't even have any words to sum up your season. Really, it's been an absolutely phenomenal season. When you ended up in Server 2, and I knew you challenged for race wins, but I didn't think we would take the title and even lead into the final round, for goodness sake. But a superb performance it has been from you throughout the season, and you've been an absolutely worthy champion. I mean, if you hadn't won the title in that final race, it would have been the eventual champion would have been, of course, because you weren't in Server 1 for the first race, and that would have been the whole thing that champion would have been tarnished with. But because you've won the title, it's even greater, and it's been a fantastic achievement. Well done.
Thank you very much, and also thanks to everybody for the great races. Sorry for my start in race 2 in Sebring, and really great organization. I hope to see everybody back next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good luck in the virtual V8 supercars also as well.
Thank you.
And so now we move on to second place in the championship. Sorry, Mr. Miguel Neto.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi. I mean, you've got to be pretty pleased this season, really. I know you obviously wanted to go for the title, and you'd be a little bit disappointed that didn't happen. But in season 3, you finished in 5th in the championship, and this year was a big improvement.
Yeah, a big improvement, and the season was great for me. In the start of this event, the championship was a little bit of hope. Stoffel, and when Stoffel had marked the time in practice, this hope was lost for me, because only with a mistake, also in the race, I win the championship. So the second overall in this season was great for me.
I mean, you've been going to be consistent throughout the season. You've been in second place, I think, since round 3. In fact, you've been in second place in the championship. I think you did lead after round 3. Then at round 4, you were second place in the championship, and you've kind of been in that second place ever since. You had different leaders of Barrick, Tolborg, and Van Dorn. You've stuck right in there, and it's been a very impressive consistency from you.
Yeah, the second place is the overall of the results of the whole season. My results were in first and eighth. The two results we went with and out. I went out in eighth place, I think. So in the five top finish, I grabbed the most points to bring off. So
yeah,
it was great for me.
Of course, without those points, without the drop scores, you would have won the title, which something to think about. It shows how much consistency you had, in fact, actually.
Yeah, the races are went this season a little bit better than the last season.
Mm-hmm.
So in the first race here in Sebring, I took the third place. I think that will be possible to pass Lauritsen, but with one more lap in the race. And in the second race, I saw in the start Stoffel with a mistake, with a touch. I don't saw, and a little bit of hope for the championship opens again. So, but
he was just teasing you.
Yeah, in the first or second lap, in the third turn, I think, and with a touch with my teammate Villar, I touched in the other cars, and I suspension damaged my car, and I went all the race with this. So the third place in the race too was great. Very
well
good.
done to you. And what was your favourite race of the season?
My favorite, I think, is Watkins Glen.
Because I might say that.
No, not only because I win one race, but I like very much the track.
Yes, it's a very good track. So congratulations to you with your runner-up spot. Of course, it could have been different if you hadn't had the drop scores. That shows you one of the most consistent drivers this season. So well done to you, and hopefully we'll see you back soon.
Yeah, thank Ryan for the great broadcasts, and this is a great championship for me, and congratulations to all guys.
Thank you, Miguel. Now we're going to speak to Mr. Torborg, the deposed champion. If he just unmutes, there we go, and unmutes his mic.
What up?
Hey, Jesper. And third place in the championship overall for you. I mean, it seemed to unravel quite a lot in the second half of the season for you. What exactly went wrong? Was it kind of small things?
Just think I didn't practice enough.
Yeah, you put it purely down to that?
Shitty car.
You can't say that, Jesper.
I don't really know.
And of course, you came into this. Third place is what you were wanting for the season, obviously. But how would you assess your own performance? Are you disappointed with how you've driven the season so far? Overall.
Yeah, a bit some places.
You think winning the World Touring Masters is now better than the ATCC?
Yeah, probably.
I still remember that interview. Anyway, congratulations to Jesper. And third place overall, I know I was disappointed with that as champion, but third place is still very, very good indeed. And good luck in season 5 if you do come back. Don't pick a Honda next time if you come back. And a good luck in the V8 Supercars also as well.
Thanks.
No problem, Jesper. And to round off the show, fittingly, we'll speak to the first season champion, Mr. Barrick, and of course, the TPS co-founder. Keith, after a season that promised much, a 5th place in the championship is not really what you wanted.
No, not after leading as much as I did early on, but I can't fault it. I mean, it's all in my hands. My results at the end of the season were just a direct relation to the effort I put in, and it shows. on track when you don't put in the effort, especially racing against guys like Francisco, Miguel, Stoffel, Jesper. I mean, it just shows. It's nothing more than lack of preparation, really. And really, there's no excuse for that. But there's always the next season, right?
There's always tomorrow, as everyone likes to say. And I mean, the first half of the season, would you say that you driving really well first half of the season, and then the second half of the season it dropped off quite a lot? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I did put in quite a bit more effort in the start of the season, mainly because I wasn't working, and time was just I had quite a bit of time, and I was really happy. Obviously, I didn't get a win, but I was always vying for a podium position, and with the field being so much deeper in talent this season, top consistent podium finishes would be enough to win the championship if you didn't have a guy like Stoffel come in and just start winning every race.
Yeah, absolutely. But, his season's been phenomenal. You know how it is to win races in a row.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
you know
definitely.
how difficult it can be, especially this season of any. It's been the toughest season we've seen so far.
Oh, absolutely, and I mean the racing was good. Obviously, we had some issues with contact at the start of the season. People kind of shaking off the rust, whatever. But as the league admin, I'm really pleased with how ATCC has grown, and to have drivers of this caliber here racing week in, week out, and looking forward to racing in this championship. It's it's more than I ever could have expected, and having great broadcasts put on by yourself and Toby, it's definitely a treat. Racing.
So when's American going to win the American Touring Car Championship?
Well, actually, I don't think there's not all that many Americans left in the ATCC. To be honest, no, we have quite a few guys stepped away. So if you are watching, make sure you're back for season 5. But it's been a great season. It's more than I could have expected, like I said, and I look forward to season 5. So.
And you speak of the standards of driving around each other. I mean, at the start of the season, we saw lots of penalties at both Watkins Glen and and especially at Road America. But since then, it's really cleaned up a huge amount, and drivers have got used. Obviously, the series had been away for almost a year when we resumed, and I think that showed quite a bit. But people improved rapidly, and that was encouraging to see, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's the biggest thing. Is it's got to be clean. I mean, I know there's going to be incidents out there. It's just inevitable. We're racing touring cars, so real estate on the track is at a premium, and when someone wants it, it's going to be a battle, and sometimes hearts get broken. It's the nature of racing tin top. The standard going up, though, is it's just apparent in Touring Pro Series. It seems pretty well every week we've got a new driver coming in that's challenging for top spots. So
yeah, it's a little bit scary.
It is.
So thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Ryan.
for the entire ATCC season also as well. It's been a pleasure to commentate on it. Congratulations once again to Stoffel van Dorn. I can't say congratulations enough for the performance that he's put in. I'm sure you'll all agree with that. And thank you guys for entertaining us throughout the season also as well, of course. So, Toby, I don't know whether you want to sum up that race or sum up the season. It's really up to you. Let's sum up the season.
I mean, all you can do is say it's been a Stoffel van Dorn show since he appeared. Other than that, I mean, it's been good battles through the field. We've seen some incidents that have been dealt with. We've seen the most entertaining race I've ever had the privilege to both watch and commentate on. Second race at Vitus Park, that was just absolutely brilliant. That's my highlight, actually. The second half of that, the last 5 laps of that race were just insane. It was so much chaos, so much going on. I mean, you nearly lost your voice, Ryan.
I did lose my voice.
And we lost the standings at the end because all sorts was happening, and Reese Gardner came from nowhere, and that race sums up the ATCC perfectly. Actually, it's just one of those championships where anything can happen, and it usually does. And
there was still a final little twist of the tail. Van Dorn spinning off the line. Who would have thought?
My heart was in my mouth for him there. Really was. I thought he was in a lot worse trouble than he actually turned out to be in terms of his lap pace. It turns out that he could keep a pretty good pretty good pace with the leaders, so he managed to finish.
Next time, put him in a larder.
I have to say, that's the one final thing I would say, rounding up this championship, is that the BMW has looked like it's been the strongest car throughout the season. I know NATO finished in second position, but you had VR and you had Lauritsen took a race win as well, and Lauritsen really has been up and down all season as well. So I know you've got quick guys in the BMWs, but I do believe that to have been the best car.
You could also kind of say it's the least consistent car, apart from Van Dorn, of course. We'll leave that out of it. But you've got Swiderski, who's mid-pack, and Asprey, who's had difficulties, and Lauritsen up and down. That's obviously how he is. But VR's had plenty of bad luck as well, and maybe the real driver has counted towards that, because any touch in those cars, and that's the consequences. That's the high risk you take.
Of course, yeah, but there just hasn't been as much contact this season, thankfully, in a way, than we've seen before in the past. I wouldn't say there's been more incidents this season. If anything, there's been fewer. So,
definitely over the last 6 rounds of the season. First 2 rounds were a bit hectic.
Yeah, well, yes, the first
but after
round,
that, it was definitely calmed down a huge amount.
First round we saw Lauritsen and VR coming together, and Barrett got a penalty, didn't he, with contact with NATO. I think a little bit there was a little bit of teething trouble with the server actually, which didn't help. But yes, I mean the second half of the season was a lot cleaner
because it was a brand new server. And in fact, we had to those guys who know, we had to change some settings back for drivers who'd had their settings set differently for a different server, which had a worse connection. So you change settings to kind of compensate for that, but then it made it caused strange reactions when we had a better server. So that was the thing from Road America.
Yeah,
we got to change for Watkins Glen, and of course we've seen immeasurable improvements since then. It's been a very enjoyable season. As I say, Vitus Park is one of the ones that I really, really enjoyed. I loved Nürburgring also as well.
Yeah, the wet races in Nürburgring were good.
Some great battles there. It seems the wet seems to bring out the best in the ATCC. But it's been incredibly close throughout the season. Plenty of shouty moments.
Yep.
And I'm sure my neighbours appreciate it at 4 in the morning.
I'm not bothered. I live in a place where loud noise is expected, so
never mind.
But it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure commentating with you, Ryan, for this season. I'm sure we'll be back for the AGTC.
Yep, that brings me nicely on to our future plans for the Touring Pro Series. We have the conclusion of the Clio Euro Series, and it seems like Levesque is going to do a Stoffel Van Dorn, and he's championship elect and he's going to win Series Season 2, even, get my words out, of the Clio Euro Series. At Sears Point.
If Ryan has anything to do about that, he'll try and beat him and stop him from doing that. But
it's not going to happen.
it might happen. It very much might happen.
It might happen, but only if Butcher gets involved. 25th of April is when that race is. You can catch that live from 18:45 GMT. That's 7:45 UK time, 8:45 in Central Europe, 2:45 in the it's 1:45. 4:45, 4:45, 4:45, 4:45, 4:45. Sorry, on the East Coast of America, so you can catch that there live on Wednesday. Don't forget to watch out for that. But big news, of course, is the virtual V8 Supercars, which starts the 28th of April from Melbourne. That's 2 weeks, kind of today, kind of 15 days if you're in America, for 2 weeks if you're in Australia, 2 weeks if you're in the EU. So
28th.
28th of April.
We've all put a lot of hard work into it as drivers, team owners, and of course yourself as the league organizer. It's going to be excellent. Really is. I'm really looking forward to that one.
And it's going towards the next level. Of course, we've got some incredible drivers in there. David Greco, of course, Stoffel Van Dorn, Toby Davis, William Levesque. We've got Florian Strauss, Tobias Schlemo, Kevin Brent. Those are some of the guys who just jumped. Peter Casa, Peter Davila. Jesper Talborg. People just just too many to name. Ben Crooks is back as well. Yeah, exactly. It's incredible. The lineup is absolutely stacked. Getting to the top 10 is going to be difficult at the first race.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
we're looking forward to that. And that starts 28th of April. There is a GamePod GT2 Evo available as the prize, because GamePod.co.uk are supporting the virtual V8 Supercars, and there's some €2,000 in prizes available for that. So it's a big stakes championship. And as I say, Toby Davis mentioned the AGTC, and that's planned for this summer once again. And Keith Barrick is assessing the possibilities for that. We may use R Factor 2, but that's still up in the air. We might just use good old-fashioned R Factor 1. Mm-hmm. But that will be happening this summer, so we'll be having the whole pit stop strategies going on again. We'll have Danny in the pits, hopefully, helping us out.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I forgot about Danny in the pits. That was a good feature. I think he's got a bit more confident having done Clio co-commentary as well. So
yeah, excellent job he's done as well with that. And of course, he writes our TPS magazine. And just a quick announcement about the magazine as well. The magazine is now going to be sorry, Toby. The magazine is now going to be every 2 weeks rather than every week, just to give Danny some time to work on more quality operations on it. And it's going to be the TPS magazine rather than the TPS weekly. So we can look forward to that as well, of course.
Yeah, the thing about the AGTC is obviously slightly longer races, so it'd be good to have a 3-man commentary team again. And that's one I'm looking forward to. There's nothing specific going on, but it is certainly planned, and you'll catch all that information on the wonderful forums that Race Department provide, and it'll be up there as soon as we hear anything.
Which leaves me nicely on to go again. Once again, Toby, thank you, mate. Getting good at this. I'm just going to go thank everybody who makes this championship possible. Of course, we've got the drivers, of course. Without them, we have nothing to watch. We've got the league organisers who do an okay job.
Yeah,
got, of course.
No, seriously. Consider while we're there. Ryan and Keith do put a lot of effort into this, and they don't, because it's usually them doing the broadcast, they can't really thank themselves without standing up themselves. So I would like to say, without sounding like we're just patting each other on the back a lot, those two do put a lot of effort in, so kudos to them.
We in fact do put a lot of effort in, and it's lovely to see it grow as a result, and that's exactly what we want, and it's very satisfying to see the V8 Supercars and the ATCC be so successful, and the Clios of course as well, which were very popular. But to just quickly go back to thanking the people who make this possible, of course, we've got the people who make the tracks, Sebring who make the game, people who watch, of course. There's no point in doing this broadcast if nobody watches us. It's great to have the fans and have them involved also as well. Of course, we've got SimSync who provide all the download tools for us, MultiVC, and we've got plenty of people who help us out as well. Of course, last but not least, we've got live races, of course, that's for our factor, but not necessarily for ATCC. But last but not least, of course, is Race Department to provide the base and the structure and the forum for us to work off. So thank you to all those people who make this possible. A league may seem like it's organised by maybe 1 or 2 people, but in fact you require something like 100 people to actually create a league when you think about all the resources that go into it. So thank you to everybody who makes it possible. Thank you to the viewers for watching. Thank you for Toby for joining me. And hopefully we'll see you in Season 5. And before then, we'll see you in the Clio Euro Series and the V8 Supercars as well. For now, from the ATCC, goodbye.